Hey guys, tonight we're slipping into the soaked sandals of a Balinese WaterPriest, ankle deep in irrigation ditches, your spine bent beneath a crown of tropical sun. Picture it, emerald terraces stair-stepping down volcanic slopes, each paddy shimmering like shattered mirrors. You feel that humid air clinging to your skin, a living blanket of fruit rot and jasmine, and somewhere below your feet, water whispers through bamboo pipes older than the Taj Mahal. Let's get real. You probably wouldn't last 10 minutes hauling sacred mud under that equatorial glare. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm weirdly into knowing whether you're in Perth or Pennsylvania while absorbing this. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your sandal snaps a twig, the sound ricochets across the valley. Every step here is a negotiation. To your left, water gurgles through a hand-carved channel, its flow calibrated to the width of a priest's thumb. To your right, a farmer kneels, pressing his palm to damp soil like a doctor checking a pulse. This isn't agriculture, it's hydrologic jazz. Centuries before spreadsheets, Bali's SubakSystem turned water sharing into high art. UNESCO slapped a World Heritage tag on it in 2012, but the real magic's messier. Imagine monks arguing over monsoon math, their scrolls replaced by palm leaves, notched with rain counts. Legend claims the first priest measured paddies using his shadow at noon, a human sundial dictating ditch depths. Here's the kicker. They banned metal tools. Iron corrupted the land's liquid bones. Or so the elders warned. Priests used coconut shells instead, drinking vessels morphing into measurement cups. Ever tried calculating irrigation rates with a halved husk? Yeah, neither has your local weather app. You crouch by a mossy sluice gate, fingertips skimming water cold as mountain breath. Historians still argue whether Indian traders brought the first irrigation tricks, or if Bali's priests out-engineered them solo. Either way, they cracked a code. Too much rice, and the gods got jealous. Too little, and villages starved mid-prayer. That gurgle in the canal, it's not just H2O, it's a ledger. Every droplet's accounted for, from cloudburst to root sip. Farmers didn't own water here, they borrowed it, like library books with cosmic due dates. Forget dams, they built water temples where priests channeled Atlantis-grade plumbing skills. Lean closer, smell that fermented tang. Someone's brewing holy fertilizer, fish guts, and hibiscus stewed for lunar cycles. You wipe sweat with a sleeve already stiff with mud. A frog plops into the ditch, kicking ripples that distort your reflection. For a heartbeat, you're wearing a temple headdress, gold leaf flaking onto sunburned cheeks. Rumor says certain canals mirror celestial patterns, Venus's orbit mapped in rice stalks. Try proving that to a skeptic. Meanwhile, Kids in neighboring Paddies skip stones across sacred reservoirs, blissfully blasphemous. Your knees protest as you rise, priesthood's less glamorous side. Downhill, women balance bamboo poles across their shoulders, baskets swinging like pendulums. Each step sinks to some primordial tempo: left, right, a metronome set by monsoons. That bamboo pipe overhead, it's whistling. Wind skims the hollow stem, playing a tune older than gamelan bands. You catch a phrase: Toya Europe, living water. Cheeky buggers hid their science in nursery rhymes. Hold still, a dragonfly lands on your wrist, wings iridescent as oil slicks. Local lore claims they're spies for the rice mother, checking if humans kept their promises. You whisper an apology for that time you drowned cafeteria rice in soy sauce. The insect zips off, unconvinced. Sunset stains the Paddies copper. Somewhere, a priest lights a frangipani incense coil, smoke spirals joining the dusk. You think about returning to your airbnb, its faulty AC and mini fridge hum. Instead, you sit. Water licks your toes, carrying the ghost of 1,000 harvests. One final secret: they measured time in palm leaf wrinkles. Monsoon arrivals predicted by how the veins yellowed. Modern meteorologists shrug, but Bali's rice yields still outpace metric-obsessed farms. Coincidence? Maybe ask the frog currently judging you from the sluice gate. Your phone buzzes, low battery. You ignore it. Let the grid wait. Here, the only Wi-Fi is wind through banana leaves. The only notifications: tadpoles darting past your ankles. You stand slowly, muscles creaking like unoiled sluices. The WaterPriests' ghost nods approval, or maybe it's just the breeze. Either way, you've earned tonight's dreams. Terraced and green, fluent in the language of rain. You step from mudslick paths into a temple courtyard. No parchment, maps unrolling here. The priest's tools sway above you, lontar palm, fronds younger than your shoes. Each ribbed leaf gets plucked at dawn's first, yawn bendable green rulers, blessed by temple smoke. Forget steel yardsticks. These organic tapes measure water channels in units called tellas. 1 tella equals the span from fingertip to elbow, provided the priest hasn't been skipping his rice portions. Crouch beside an elder, unwinding a frond's spine. His hands dance like spider legs. He presses the leaf's curve against a canal bed, counting notches etched by thumbnail. Each groove matches a water god's name. 18 divine increments per palm. Modern hydrologists confirm it. Their 3D scans show these hand-carved channels align within 2% of perfect. Yet Bali's priests nailed it, using foliage that wilts before lunch. Peek under a frond's waxy surface. Secret math blooms in Fibonacci spirals. Temple apprentices once trained by memorizing these natural patterns, their rulers grew proofs. Historians still argue whether those swirls guided irrigation routes or just hypnotized sleepy students. Either way, when Dutch colonizers imposed metal tools, crop yields plunged. Turns out armadas of tin triangles couldn't whisper where the lontar leaves sang. Your sandal crunches a discarded frond, frayed from calculating terraces all morning. Notice the bite marks near the stem. Rookie priests tested their teeth here. If the leaf snapped clean, the measurement held. Fail, and they'd spend the monsoon season realigning gutters upstream. The real genius move. Rotting rulers become mulch. No bureaucratic landfills, just soil feeding tomorrow's stocks. Lean closer as a priest folds a frond into a makeshift flute. His hummed tune isn't folk music, it's a mnemonic for slope ratios. Experts decoded one melody as a quadratic equation last year. Math so slick it'd make Pythagoras blush, yet locals swear the songs originated from frogs, croaking irrigation coordinates after heavy rains. Either way, it beats trying to read a soggy spreadsheet. Watch those fronds shiver in the breeze, their arcs mapping invisible angles. Each rustle recalculates water distribution based on cloud thickness, living trigonometry. Some claim moonlight warps the leaves' flexibility. Hence, why midnight measurements require coconut oil massages. Try finding that feature on your iPhone's Level app. You're handed a fresh frond, still tacky with sap. Trace your thumb along its ridges, a tactile calendar of planting seasons. Farmers paid taxes in palm rib replicas, currency you could compost if harvests turned sour. The system worked so well, UNESCO slapped it on their heritage list in 2012. Though good luck finding a Bali native who cares. They're too busy, not starving. As shadows stretch, the priests bundle used fronds into temple offerings. Smoke curls carry their rulers skyward, ash settling on fields like ethereal audit reports. Tomorrow's leaf arrives at sunrise, another biodegradable spreadsheet. And somewhere, a Dutch hydrology textbook weeps into its drainpipe. The ashes from those burnt fronds dust your shoulders as you enter the rice fields. Each grain here weighs more than gold. Bali's priests didn't just grow crops, they balanced checkbooks for the gods. You kneel beside a basket of unhusked rice. Its curves mimic the island's terraces. Farmers once paid temple taxes with these very grains, 8 baskets per harvest, sanctioned by 10th century copper scrolls. UNESCO calls it subak, a sacred socio-religious system. You call it cosmic accounting with a side of blistered feet. Pluck a single grain, its shell gleams like lacquered armor. Priests believed each husk trapped a droplet of celestial rainwater. Sprinkle a handful, and your littering heavens change purse. Overplant, and the gods starved. Underplant, and villages faced their wrath. Surplus wasn't prosperity, it was a spiritual overdraft. Historians still argue whether this divine debt concept curbed hoarding or just made priests phenomenal loan sharks. Watch an elder sift rice through her fingers, counting in units called cuckoo. Each cuckoo equals the volume of one human fingernail, about 80 grains. Lose 3 grains mid-count, and you'd better start drafting apology chants. Modern Bali sells rice in kilos, but temple offerings still demand precise cuckoo quotas. Try explaining that to a cashier at Denpasar's grocery store. Reach into the basket, your palms sweat, warps the grains. Priests forbade handling rice after lovemaking or funerals. Body's moisture could dilute its sacred mass. Offenders paid fines in chickens, live ones, their beaks stuffed with compensation grains. Quirky tidbit: archaeologists found a 14th century ledger detailing a farmer's penalty, 2 roosters, and a duck named Regret. Follow the priestess, balancing a rice pyramid on her head. Each wobble recalibrates her cosmic karma. At the field's edge, she tips the pyramid into a woven box, its sides etched with snake deities. This isn't storage, it's an interstellar wire transfer. Every grain feeds ancestral spirits, who supposedly ensure next season's rainfall. Skeptics smirk until monsoons arrive right on schedule. Crouch where 2 irrigation canals cross the water, here doubles as divine saliva. Farmers sprinkled this holy drool on seedlings, insurance against hungry mice. Clever, until rodents learned to baptize themselves. Locals retaliated by weaving rice gods into scarecrow hats, a theological arms race with extra starch. Your sandal sinks into mud, fertilized by last season's surplus. Rotting rice wasn't waste, it became sole collateral. Priests buried spoiled grains at crossroads, tribute to demons who'd otherwise sabotage harvests. Generous, sure. Also pragmatic, nothing stops vermin like a hellish ceasefire. Smell that nutty aroma. It's not just cooking rice, it's the scent of interdimensional banking. Each harvest festival, priests burned grains in bamboo tubes, smoke ascending as edible interest payments. Default on your cosmic mortgage, expect a famine, or a really inconvenient locust infestation. Peek inside a temple granary. Its bamboo shelves sag under rice brick vaults. The oldest bricks date to Majapahit traders, 12th century traders who paid taxes in rice, not coin. One crumbling brick bears tooth marks. Some priest tested its purity like a gold sovereign. Bite too hard, and you dine on medieval tax returns. Hear that rhythmic thud. Women pound rice in mortar pits. Each strike sinks to a WaterPriests chant. Miss a beat, and the rhythm unravels like a bad spreadsheet formula. Ethnobotanists found these pounding patterns match nitrogen levels in soil. The locals credit earworm tunes from the Rice Goddesses playlist. You're handed a coconut shell ladle, its bowl hollowed to hold exactly 17 cuckoo. Measuring exact portions took grit and a steady hand. Spill a grain, and you just stiffed a deity. Modern Bali uses plastic scoops, yet temple elders insist the coconut's curve hugs the rice properly. As dusk bleeds across fields, priests ledger the day's grains onto palm strips. Their tallies look like barcodes, vertical scratches for demons, horizontal for gods. Digitize those marks and you've got the original blockchain. Hackers need not apply. The encryption's written in angel tongue. Stumble upon a mouse nibbling spilled rice, its tiny jaws defying centuries of holy tariffs. The priest beside you laughs. Mice pay their dues too. Each stolen grain becomes fertilizer in their dens, a rodent tax system. Even pests understand you don't mess with Balinese accounting. A raindrop plinks into your rice basket, the first of the monsoon. Farmers smile, their cosmic debts settled, their granaries echoing. You pocket a single grain, an IOU between earth and sky. Just don't let the priests catch you. Interest rates compound faster than bamboo grows. The monsoon hammers your shoulders as you duck under a lontar palm. Its fronds clatter like bone dice. Priests here measure rice fields with rulers that grow on trees. Literally, peel back a leaf's spine. Its ridges aren't flaws. They're sacred calculus etched by monsoon winds. Forget steel tape measures. Bali's water masters swore metal, lied by bending to human greed. One British colonizer insisted on mapping fields with brass chains. Locals watched, bemused, as his tools rusted shut mid-measurement. Kneel where a priest scores notches into a leaf. Each mark aligns to a farmer's shadow at noon. This isn't carpentry, it's biodegradable trigonometry. The lontar's fibers flex with humidity, tightening in dry months, slackening when rains swell. Metal stays rigid, and rigidity breaks trust. Historians still argue whether this aversion to metal began with a cursed 9th century crease dagger. Its blade reportedly soured an entire rice harvest. Pluck a dried leaf from the mud. Its edges curl like a scorned lover's letter. Priests soaked these in turmeric and moonlight, making them supple as silk, tough as guilt. Fold one lengthwise. You've just created a rain gauge. Imperial surveyors mocked these crude tools until their sextants melted in Bali's humidity. Jokes on them, decomposing leaves nourish the next crop. Zero waste and zero colonial patents. Tug a frond taut between your hands. It resists like a bowstring. The ideal measurement, cane spanned 12 handspans, exactly 96 knuckles. Mess up the count. Start over, the leaf remembers sloppy math. Modern hydrologists found these primitive rulers match laser leveler precision within a 2% margin. Try getting that accuracy from a Home Depot tape measure. Dig your thumbnail into the leaf's pulp, sap bleeds out, sticky as regret. Craftsmen once boiled lontar in rice wine to prevent mold, a recipe lost when Java invaded in 1343. The substitute, urine from temple monkeys. Quirky tidbit. A 1930s Dutch journal describes a priestess sipping this reinforced sap during rituals, claiming it sharpened her vision. We'll stick with bifocals. Trace your finger along the leaf's veins. They fork like fractals. Each branch correlates to irrigation channels, wider for main canals, narrower for feeder streams. Priests mapped entire watersheds on a single frond, no PDF exports required. tear the leaf, and the land itself was said to bleed. Poetic, sure. Also a killer motivator for careful drafting. Smell that tangy musk, rotting lontar piles, strategically placed near rat burrows. Rodents gnaw the decomposing leaves and get stupefied by fermented sap. Natural pest control with a hangover twist. Metal traps just snap shut, no artistry. No wasted cheese. Find a young priest struggling to split a leaf. His knife trembles. Elders trained with blindfolds, learning to gauge tension by sound alone. A perfect slice whispers, a jagged tear screams, fail 3 times, and you spend a week weaving bamboo apologies to the rice mother. School detentions got nothing on divine crafting therapy. Spot the insect holes dotting a weathered frond. They're not imperfections. Each puncture marks a flood year's data point. Priests tracked monsoon strength by how bugs ravaged stored leaves. Call it climate science with extra nibbles. Modern weather models still reference these biologic archives when satellites glitch. Your guide snaps a leaf midrib. Its hollow core releases trapped rainwater. Thirsty? This isn't a canteen. It's a ritual vessel. Drinking from it binds you to the watershed's karma. Spill a drop, and you owe the gods a coconut. Better hydrate before the tour. Lean against a palm trunk. Its bark imprints spiral patterns on your back. Priests believed these spirals mirrored water's path. Underground, drill a well where the grooves align. Dowsers' rods, tourist gimmicks. Real mystics hug trees. Rain drips down the leaf's central rib. Each droplet swerves at priest-cord notches. This isn't irrigation. It's a live demonstration of flow rates. Adjust the leaf's angle, and your engineering paws the organic way. Engineers take notes. Mother Nature's got tenure here. Unroll a 500-year-old lontar scroll. Its glyphs depict dancers with rulers for arms. Each pose corresponds to a measurement mantra. Memorize the dance, and you inherit the island's hydraulic blueprints. Historians still argue whether these were training manuals or ancient tick-tock thirst traps. A gecko skitters over your leaf map, its sticky toes redistricting a paddy field. The priest shrugs, even they serve. Turns out gecko tracks mimic seedling spacing patterns. Who needs graph paper when you've got reptilian interns? Night falls, you're handed a lontar torch. Its fibers burn slow, scenting the air with caramelized data. Old maps were ceremonially burned each decade, their knowledge reborn through ash and regrowth. Cloud backups could never. The last ember dies, your pupils dilate in sudden dark. Somewhere, a priest folds a fresh leaf, its creases singing of balanced harvests and debts forgiven. You pocket a fallen frond, but it crumbles before dawn. Impermanent, like all good things, dawn's first light glints off dew-strung spiderwebs. Your sandals sink into mud warm as blood. A priestess kneels downstream, her lontar ruler submerged, current tugging its notches like a comb through hair. This isn't measurement, it's a courtship. Water whispers where to carve each groove, too shallow, parched stalks, too deep, drowned roots. Scoop a handful, the liquid slips through your fingers like rumor. Balinese hydraulics hinge on a truth. Flow rates matter less than cadence. Monsoons aren't faucets, they're drum solos. Priests timed leaf dips to the interval between raindrops, calibrating canals to nature's erratic metronome. Replicas in Kyoto's labs confirm their math: 92% rhythm, 8% guesswork. Ukul, the song of distribution, hums from a bamboo flute downstream. Each note corresponds to a Paddies water quota. Miss a note, rice levies it anyway. Your guide swears a flooded village once paid their tax in frog choruses, 3 nights of croaking substituting for bushels. Historians still argue whether this was poetic justice or an early amphibian union negotiation. Crouch beside a weir carved with serrated leaf patterns, its wood gnawed by decades of friction. Modern engineers found these jagged edges reduce sediment buildup by mimicking palm frond turbulence. Textbook laminar flow, overrated. Chaos scratches its back here. Pluck a water strider off the surface. Its spindly legs cast ruler-straight shadows. Priests used these insects as living calipers, 6 legs, spanning exactly 1 T-Jarat unit. Squish 1, and you owe 12 egg yolks to the watershed's ledger. Some say this explains Bali's bug zapper-free ethos. Divine HR keeps everyone employed. The priestess beckons you closer her lontar strip, now flecked with trapped silt. She folds it into a zigzag dam, a miniature barrage redirecting the stream. UNESCO once cited this as early modular engineering, but locals know it's just origami with stakes. Dig beneath a mossy stone. There's a rusted Rolex from 1978. A Jakarta developer tried bribing priests with Swiss watches until monsoons short-circuited the gears. They returned it wrapped in banana leaves. A polite "your time isn't our time." Beneath the luxury landfill, a Coca-Cola bottle repurposed as a flow meter, kapung cola, the villagers call it. Slide your palm under a fern-shaded spring. Its chill numbs your wrist bone. Thermal maps confirm these oases anchor the irrigation network, cooling canals to prevent algal rot. Thermostats, unnecessary. Genius lies in knowing where shadows birth themselves. A teenager scrapes resin from a tapped palm. His blades' rhythm syncs with distant thunder. Elders taught him to listen for low-frequency rumbles, pre-storm infrasound that softens lontar fibers. Science calls this atmospheric acoustics. Grandma called it clouds arguing. Either way, it makes the leaves pliable for precise carving. Spot the bamboo pirogue tethered to a boulder. It's not a boat, it's a floating rain gauge. Full moon launches require it to float exactly 6 finger widths high, or planting gets delayed. Miss the mark, blame bad karma, or that extra portion of jackfruit stew. Your guide points to a cliffside mural swirling indigo spirals that mirror typhoon paths. Researchers identified 15 matches to actual storm trajectories, plus one that suspiciously aligns with a 1963 Beatles tour route. Coincidence? The priests grin, their silence costs extra. Kneel at a dry stream bed. The priestess presses your ear to cracked mud. A hollow gurgle hints at secrets below. Subak law states groundwater belongs to no one and everyone. Pump 2 greedily. The earth might just swallow your pipes. Chevron learned that the expensive way in 92. Twilight brings fireflies. Their flickers outline a giant lontar leaf traced in midair. A novice chants allocations, each luminescent dot a farmer's quota. It's beautiful until mosquitoes breach the light grid. Even holy math can't fix Bali's vampire calculus. The priestess offers you a sip from a coconut dipper. Its water tastes of iron and hibiscus. Swallow, and you're now kin to the watersheds. OLDEST, Chinese letter. Spit, and tomorrow's lunch crawls with river lice. Choose wisely, but choose thirsty. Moonrise silvers the canals, their surfaces etched with ripples like lontar's veins. Somewhere upstream, a leaf ruler dissolves its data, seeping into the next season's roots. You pocket a pebble instead. It won't betray you by turning to soil. Moonlight pools in the pebble's curve. Your stolen souvenir weighs more than stone. Across the valley, torches bob like angry fireflies. A farmer's machete flashes. His brother-in-law's dam breached overnight. Water theft's a capital offense, but so is thirst. The priest arrives with a bamboo abacus, beads clacking like rodent teeth. Each groove represents a field's rightful share. His verdict: half the guilty Paddies' yield goes to the robbed plot, plus 3 roosters as interest. Historians still argue whether these avian finds funded temples or priestly fried chicken feasts. Downstream, you glimpse a terraced courtroom, farmers ankle-deep in muck, pleading cases. No lawyers here, just a singing bowl tuned to watershed frequencies. Fill it from the disputed canal. If the note matches last monsoon's pitch, the water's rightful. A 14th century ledger proves they once used betta fish. As jurors, losers' Paddies got the piscine judge's tank. Scoop algae from a contested ditch. It squirms like green linguine. Hidden beneath, a bamboo pipe, siphoning flow to a mango grove. The thief's punishment: tend both fields until harvest, wearing his neighbor's sweat-soaked headscarf. Empathy's stinkier here. Climb to the allocation shrine, its walls carved with drought year tallies. Farmers nudge clay tokens into offering slots, each marked with a Paddy's GPS coordinates. Wait, scratch that they're star alignments. Ancient GIS, powered by ancestors, a 1937 Dutch survey found these maps matched aerial photographs. If you squint through palm wine goggles, the head priest unrolls a lontar scroll. Its glyphs dance under coconut oil lamps. Section 9, verse 3, he intones, should east outdrink west, let the offender balance on one leg. until the rice pities him. You spot a man wobbling in the corner, his cheeks slick with humility. Dig beneath the offering slab. There's a child's game board etched into rock. Players move pebbles through irrigation channels, a sneakily educational toy. Lose 3 rounds, and you're drafted to clean frog ponds. Bali's version of vocational school. Your sandal snaps a bamboo stake. Turns out it's a rain gauge from the 1600s. Colonial looters missed it, but termites didn't. Modern replicas sell in U-Bud boutiques, tagged rustic hygrometers. The priests giggle. They know tourists are watering houseplants with karma. Dawn reveals whispers carved into canal banks, curses for water hoarders, blessings for sharers. Linguists identified 7 dialects of hydraulic sass. One reads, "May your shallots taste of jealousy." Another, "Pee here, meet dysentery." Passive-aggressive infrastructure at its finest. A grandmother offers you tamarind candy, sour, as a disputed inheritance. She recounts the great pumpkin theft of 1904, when a smuggled squash flooded 3 Paddies. Compensation. The thief's grandson still tends communal latrines. Justice here outlives lifetimes. Wade into a mediation pool. Leeches kiss your calves like overeager tax collectors. The priest tosses in a copper bowl. If it sinks, the accuser lied. Floats. The defendant's soul's lighter than monsoon fog. Yours drifts mid-sentence. Better start confessing those hotel minibar sins. Spot the stone altar stacked with thumb-sized baskets. Each holds rice weighed against a butterfly's wing, a ritual to lighten greedy hearts. Fail the balance, and you're sentenced to weave baskets from your own hair. Vanity's downfall, literally. The priestess draws a serpent in the mud. Its coils mark today's water quotas. Farmers bow not to the symbol, but its shadow. Cloud cover alters the allotment. Divine math accounts for ephemera, like heaven's eraser smudging a ledger. Under a banyan tree, boys play thieves versus irrigators, the bandit's prize. A mango seed. The cop's reward. 5 extra homework minutes. Even games mimic the economy of scarcity. You join the outlaws. Stealing fruit builds character and calf muscles. Nightfall brings a floating lantern. Its bamboo frame holds the final arbitration. The current carries it past contested fields, where its snags determines next season's sacrifices. You half expect a Disney song, until a monitor lizard nosedives to sabotage a rival's plot. The priest hands you a restitution coconut carved with the thief's repentance ode. Drink its milk, and you inherit his sin. Decline, and the village bard turns your shame into a top 10 harvest jam. Choices taste prickly here, like kissing a sea urchin. Your pebble warms, or maybe that's guilt fermenting. Toss it into the arbitrator's pond and count the ripples. Odd number. Keep your hands clean. Even. Start digging a better karma trench. The water decides, it always does. You trace a finger along the temple's western wall, its surface ridged like a giant's fingerprint. Noon sun carves shadows into stone channels, precise as sundial hands. Forget your smartphone's farming app. These grooves predicted planting seasons for 8 centuries. Archaeologists found matching carvings at Borobudur, proving Java's kings stole the trick. But Bali perfected it. A priestess kneels, sprinkling frangipani petals where light meets shadow. When the serpent's tongue licks the third lotus, she murmurs. Squint sunbeams morph into a stone Nagini's forked silhouette. Miss the alignment by a finger's width. Whole villages could starve. Historians still argue whether these markers doubled as musical scores. Those undulating lines resemble a rice planting hymn's notation. Step into the sanctum. Volcanic dust powders your nostrils. That circular hole above, not architectural genius, termites munched through centuries ago. Priests kept it because now the equinox sunbeam hits a fertility statues, a hum, generous assets. Harvests tripled the year it happened. Coincidence? The attendant winks, you decide. You spot a coconut shell nailed high on the wall, perforated with 9 holes. Youth apprentices once sat here for hours, marking where light spots land. Fail the test. Reassignment to pigsty odor management. Drop your own phone into the beam. Its shadow circles the temple's plant, now emblem. Siri never warned you about monsoons, but these stones scream timings in silent geometry. A hidden alcove stashes palm leaf almanacs, chewed by bats, but still legible. Full moons are circled, but with tiny frog drawings. Turns out spawn cycles, dictated wetland prep days. Bio-calendaring before it was trendy. The margins hold doodles, some priest's bored sketch of a bossy village head with rooster legs. Outside, farmers press coins against ripe carvings. If copper sticks, harvest begins. Most adhere, except Matrol the gambler. He's betting his cassava crop on a delayed monsoon. His secret, a smuggled colonial barometer hidden in a hollowed-out Bible. The priestesses tolerate it because he shares the data and mango brandy. Lean against the drought wall, its fissures form a celestial map. During the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora, ash blotted the stars for months. Priests navigated by these engraved constellations instead. Touch the Orion glyph. Your palm comes away stained yellow. Saffron ritually reapplied each decade because gods prefer their star charts fragrant. A child's voice echoes. She's counting shadow notches for a school project. 12. For corn, 17. For rice, her teacher lurks behind a pillar scowling. The old ways mandatory curriculum since 2021, after a GPS-led harvest failed spectacularly. Tech supplements tradition here, but never supplants. You nail your shadow self against the wall, arms spread like a ritual offering. The length decrees you're allowed. Well draws this season. Pray you haven't been snacking too much, or hydrology shaming awaits. A passing farmer snorts, his silhouettes all legs, the unstretched truth of manual labor. Spot the mossy frog statue. Its open mouth once held rainwater when full priests declared the monsoon official. A Dutch botanist stole it in 1912 until village kids mailed him anonymous mold samples. It returned hastily, spores and all. Dusk transforms the wall into a puppet show. Torchlight makes carvings dance. Dragon teeth nibble the moon. Stone eels wriggle in tide glyphs. A priest hums the planting chant, but the real soundtracks your stomach growling. Time to trade astronomy for avocado pancakes before the cafe's vintage hygrometer sells out. You follow the scent of wet clay to a canal junction. 8 farmers, ankle deep, in debate. No throne here, just a mossy stone bench shaped like a frog's tongue. The Subak councils in session, Bali's ancient water democracy at work. UNESCO stamped it a World Heritage Treasure in 2012. But they skipped the best part. A grandmother slaps a palm leaf onto the water's surface, its inked notches fanning like nerves. East Branch gets 3 bends of flow, she declares. That's bends measured by how long it takes a blossom to swirl past. Your Apple Watch ticks uselessly. These elders track time in petals. One man argues his field's newer, thirstier hybrid rice. The circle quiets. A priest unrolls a scroll, revealing a 14th century verdict on foreign grains. The penalty, double water tax, or composing a hymn to the mosquito god. He opts for pest poetry. Notice the duck egg balancing on the weir, cracked if the vote deadlocks. 3 yolks mean the gods abstain, they're busy with volcanic traffic control. Tonight's quorum settles fast, thanks to a passing heron's ominous shadow. You kneel to drink, the water tastes of iron and clove. Secret ingredient, ritual knives bathed here post-sacrifice. But don't worry, it's symbolic. Mostly. A teen offers beetle nut instead, chew it, and the debates sound profound. Spit crimson and your honorary council. Historians still argue whether women always held equal votes. The oldest palm leaf ledgers went up in a 1908 coffeehouse fire. Legends claim temple, mice ate the truth. Either way, today's priestess wears her great-aunt's necklace. Bronze flow, dividers strung like pearls. Watch the real power broker, a toddler stacking pebbles into tiny dams. When he topples one, elders gasp. The North Field's allocation gets cut. Divination or distraction. His sticky mango hands seem suspiciously strategic. Your sandal dislodges a stone, revealing a 1923 Dutch coin hammered into the canal bed. Colonialists tried replacing these meetings with metal gauges. Villages misplaced the keys, then melted them into amulets. One inspector's boots still molder downstream, sealed under curse-laden concrete. Dusk brings the oath chant, voices sink to frog croaks. Each farmer swears on their ancestors' sharpest hoe. Perjury risks blight and gossip, though gossip's deadlier here. By moonrise, water snakes coil into living sluice gates. Nobody questions the assist. You're handed a coconut dipper, drink from the communal flow. Decline and it's a faux pas. Accept, and you're tax-bound to help dredge mud next monsoon. The kid with the pebbles grins. You've been gently played as fireflies tag the canals. Someone strums a bamboo zither. The tune's titled Subak Serenade, or maybe that's just the humidity warping your notes. Either way, the water's verdict flows clearer than any court's decree, carving justice into soil. Season by liquid season, rain ghosts haunt the cracked earth now, where canals once gleamed. Only dust serpents writhe. You taste failure in the air, burnt rice husks, and parched frog bones. The priest's palm leaf ledgers curl like dying centipedes, their once precise notches rendered gibberish by 12 bone-dry weeks. Remember those temple vaults sealed with beeswax and hair. Priests crack them open ancestor vaults where prophecies ferment like palm wine. Inside, moth-eaten scrolls, a desiccated gecko king, and a coconut shell full of tears, harvest tears, collected during the Great Famine of 1843. Historians confirm that event. Dutch tax records note a 90% rice deficit island-wide. The quirky part, each tear's labeled with the crier's name and acidity level. A priestess decants the oldest vial into a bronze lotus bowl. Grandmother's grief, she murmurs, bitter as unripe papaya. The ritual, mixing ancestral sorrow with virgin spring water, if any springs remain. You spot rat droppings near the vault. Coincidence? Temple rodents reportedly hoarded scrolls during droughts. Some claim they're failed priests reincarnated. Check the ceiling beams. Those whisker shadows seem judgmental. They lead you to a moonless reservoir, its bed cracked into hexagonal despair. A boy tosses in a stone. It doesn't clatter. It hums. Elders nod. The earth's begging for a tune. Time to consult the rust. Compass. A magnetized dagger from the Majapahit era that allegedly points to hidden aquifers. Skeptics say it's just corroded steel until it spins wildly northwest. Digging reveals a worm-riddled bamboo pipe, intact from the 1600s. Your blistered hands help unclog it, centuries of silt spill out, along with a corroded iPhone 4. Modernity's carcass. Someone chuckles. Tourist sacrifice. 2016. Historians still argue whether droughts cycle every 68 years, or if that's just an excuse for bad math. Either way, the compass needle now droops south, sniffing water or surrendering. Debate gets postponed when a priest's headscarf ignites from sheer midday rage. Dusk brings the hunger choir, children humming, while elders chant irrigation, maps from memory. Their combined breath stirs the compass needle again. You're handed a rain lure, hollowed bamboo filled with queen termites. Shake it near your ear. The vibration mimics a monsoon's first thunder. Superstition? Maybe. But your Apple Watch just buzzed a storm alert. Coincidences are Bali's favorite currency. By dawn, a muddy sigh rises from the pipe. Not a flood, but a sob. Enough to fill a beetle nut bowl or baptize a mouse. The priestess declares it a good enough apocalypse. You sip from a shared ladle, gritty, warm, faintly metallic. The aftertaste, hope or iron deficiency. Either way, the temple rats approve. They're already rolling the scrolls back into their holes. The mud-soaked scrolls whisper as they unravel, their edges dissolving into the milky water. You kneel beside the resurrected trickle. It smells of wet cedar and regret. A priest traces the flow with a calloused toe. The first flood was sweeter, he claims. Back when oceans were younger and gods napped less, your palm skims the surface, ripples morph into miniature temple spires, then drown. Legends say submerged cities pulse beneath Bali's bedrock kingdoms, swallowed for insulting the Rain Queen. Mainstream archaeology nods. The 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora choked these skies with ash, triggering monsoons that rewrote coastlines. But locals swear their ancestors' hamlets sank whole turtle shells, still wash up with roof carvings. A girl hands you a rain-swelled coconut. Drink slow, she warns. Memories flow thicker than water. The first sip hits fermented, medicinal. Second sip, blurred visions of priests wading neck-deep, rice stalks knotted in their hair. Third sip, your tongue tastes silt from a river that hasn't flowed in 8 centuries. Spit it out. Too late. The choir kids giggle. You're officially baptized in someone else's apocalypse. Digging a pebble from your sandal, you strike metal. It's a bronze fish, corroded gills, hollow eyes. Eel tax, snorts the priest. Paid to river demons pre-harvest. He slips it into the flow. It swims upstream against physics and logic. Quirky tidbit. Villagers once dropped counterfeit fish to cheat water spirits. Archaeologists keep finding them in irrigation tunnels, stamped with fake scales. Fireflies cluster above the canal, not fireflies, bioluminescent beetles bred by priests to mimic constellations. Their green pulses chart phantom rivers. Across the mud, you're trespassing on liquid stardust. A toddler chases one. It lands on her nose. The priestess gasps. That's Pac Duran's grandfather. Some believe ancestral souls commandeer beetles during droughts, usually the grumpiest relatives. The compass dagger trembles in its holder. It's pointing straight down now. Don't, the priest warns as you grab it. Too late, the blade's hilt sears your palm, etching a spiral. Congrats, smirks the girl. Now you owe the earth a favor. Historians still argue whether these markings are maps or IOU notes for the afterlife. Both, probably both. Nightfall unspools the flood legend proper. A spectral chorus hums it while weaving palm fronds. Once, priest kings drank molten gold to converse with tides, until a queen salted their wine. Oceans retaliated, swallowing palaces, sparing only rats who could tread water for weeks. Hence today's temple rodents, portly, smug, excellent backstrokers. The lesson: monarchy corrupts, hydrology avenges. Dawn exposes bone fragments in the canal bed. Human, water buffalo. The priestess shrugs. Same difference during famine. You pocket a shard, it warms, pulses wrong. Toss it back. Modernity's no safer. Your phone buzzes with a tsunami alert. The priest eyes it. See, oceans still gossip. Rain arrives as you depart, not from skies, from a sweating boulder upslope, congealed humidity, or a mountain's fever breaking. The compass needle spins like a dervish. You're drenched in paradox, relief, and doubt, emulsified. Somewhere below, the drowned kings clink golden cups, toasting their borrowed time. Rain slicks your hair as you enter the temple courtyard. The scent of charred palm sugar clings to wet stone. A priestess presses a coconut shell into your hands, edges sanded smooth by generations of thumbprints. Fill it twice with rice, she instructs. Once for the earth's belly, once for its memory. You scoop grains, each pour timed to the drip of a mossy water clock. Skew your ratios. The shell darkens, a warning stench of fermented milk. Turns out Bali's gratitude runs on fractions. Offerings aren't gifts, they're spiritual algebra. 3 coconut quarts of rice for Vishnu. Half a shell's worth of salt for the volcano goddess. Exactitude matters. The 10th century, Agama Turta manuscripts standardized these measures, long before Europe ditched Roman numerals. Rumor says colonial taxmen tried adopting this system. Their scales rusted shut during audits. You spot a carved coconut lashed to the gate, its husk puckered with tiny holes. Quirky tidbit. Farmers once smuggled cursed shells into rivals' fields, drilling vents to leak blessings. One 14th century chronicle blames a 6-year drought on a single sabotaged offering. A coconut lined with frog skin. Archaeologists still find these booby-trapped husks in silt deposits, their malice long expired. The high priest chants equations over your shell. His voice sinks with distant thunder. 2 parts moonlight, 1 part monsoon. Carry the remainder into next season. Your ears pop, pressure shifts, as if the math itself weighs the air. A kid in a messy jersey giggles. He's stacking pebbles into a Pythagorean theorem shrine. Tradition meets trigonometry, Bali's original STEM curriculum. Hunger gnaws. You eye the offering plate, glutinous rice balls glazed in honey. Take one, shrugs the priestess, but replace its volume in tears. You hesitate how to cry on demand. She flicks a chili seed into your eye. Problem solved. The burn fades, replaced by a salted caramel aftertaste. Turns out piety pairs well with endorphins. Dusk reveals baskets of clove buds, each precisely 1/12, a coconut shell's volume. For the mosquito gods, explains a novice. They demand quarterly bribes, else dengue outbreaks. Historians still argue whether these counts were medicinal math or divine extortion. Honestly, probably an ancient public health campaign with extra incense. You pocket a shell shard. It's warm, vibrating, faintly judgmental. Drop it fast. The priestess tuts. Stealing measurements steals fate. She makes you atone by balancing water bowls on your head, Each holds exactly 17 flower petals. Why 17? Ancestors ran out of toes, she deadpans. Later, you'll learn it's prime, indivisible, like devotion. Torchlight catches a shadow mural, priests debating fractions with finger puppets. One puppet's a crocodile, the other a durian. The lesson: fair splits prevent bloodshed. A tourist's Fitbit chirps. They've clocked 10,000 steps, circling the temple. The priest mutters, "We counted footsteps in coconut units. Your gadgets just catching up." Midnight, you're calibrating moonlit, water into an offering bowl, drop by drop. Spill a bead. The priest makes you replay yesterday's rain chant. Your throat raw, you finally grasp the cruelty of sacred math. Generosity isn't kindness, it's survival calculus. Every coconut fraction a peace treaty with chaos. Every grain a ceasefire clause. Cicadas swell their pitch, an old harmonic for enough. You exit past a stack of shells, their hollows humming like conch symphonies. The calculus continues, invisible, eternal, trading fullness for futures. Somewhere, a farmer sips dawn's first coffee, measuring his sips against the temple's thirst. Salt crusts your lips as you wipe sweat. 19th century Batavia, humidity sticks like boiled syrup. Dutch engineers scribble in leather ledgers. Their steel rulers glint cruel in the sun. Primitive superstition snorts a foreman, his mustache waxed to spite the tropical heat. They've mapped Bali's rivers with Dutch trigonometry, redrawn terraces into perfect rectangles. Only the WaterPriests keep measuring with palm leaves, their rulers plucked fresh each dawn. You crouch beside a canal, clogged with rusted chains. Turns out imported steel swelled in monsoons, warped irrigation plans by whole thumb widths. Rice yields plummeted, blame fell on lazy natives, until a dike burst, flooded a colonial tax office. Archives mention officers bailing guilders from knee-deep muck, their boots suctioned off by vengeful mud. Quirky twist. The Dutch retaliated by hiring a scientific rainmaker, some Austrian charlatan, with a lightning rod and a parrot. His solution: firing gunpowder into clouds to scare the monsoons. Villagers still laugh about the day his cannon backfired, charring a customs officer's prized toupee. The parrot survived, learned Balinese curse words. Months pass. You watch engineers sneak into temple courtyards at dusk, palming palm leaves like ashamed students. Their reports: local methods show flexibility modern hydrology lacks. One memo admits leaf fibers expand predictably in humidity, becoming living slide rules. Colonial pride evaporates faster than morning dew. A clerk offers you Geneva gin, warm, bitter Dutch courage in a tin cup. Will convert them to progress. He slurs. You point to his boots' roots have cracked the canal's concrete embankment. Tiny green fingers reclaiming geometry. He doesn't notice. Too busy arguing metric conversions with a frog. Historians still debate whether the priests outsmarted colonialism or just outlasted it. Maybe both. when Krakatau's ash choked Bali's skies in 1883. Palm leaves tracked water shifts better than rain gauges. The Dutch called it luck. Farmers knew you don't need numbers when you speak a river's language. Torchlight reveals a warehouse stacked with moldy hydrometers. A rat gnaws on a ledger, Colonial calculus, reduced to nesting material. Outside, priests measure a full moon's pull on well water. Their leaves bend, a silent rebuke to metal's hubris. You pocket a rusted bolt, its threads echo forgotten arrogance. A fossil-sized oops. Dawn cracks open. A Dutch engineer's granddaughter, fluent in Balinese, sits cross-legged with village girls. Together, they braid palm strips into hybrid rulers, tensile and precise. Tradition isn't stone, it's a river. Bend, adapt, dissolve whatever resists. The lesson clings like monsoonal mist, invisible, undeniable, softening even the sharpest steel. Moonlight pools on your feet as you enter the dimming temple, every shadow humming with half-remembered rhymes. An elder priestess unravels a palm strip, her fingers brushing notches like braille. 5 bends for planting, 7 for flood, 3 for when the earth coughs ash. No numbers, only cadence. You realize each mantra mirrors rice, stalks swaying, syncopated, alive. A novice fumbles the 3rd verse. The priestess flicks his ear, not unkindly. Sing it wrong, and the fields miscount by a hand's width. He tries again, voice cracking on the monsoon refrain. Nearby, a Dutch grandma's granddaughter hums along, her notebook abandoned. Turns out colonial archives never recorded how rhythm traps precision better than ink. Here's the kicker. UNESCO finally recognized subak as a global treasure in 2012. Too bad their paperwork missed the real gem, these chants. Some argue they're Bali's first folk algorithms, encoded in lullabies wet nurses crooned. A fringe theory claims the melodies synced with infants' heartbeats, imprinting math before words. Skeptics scoff until you notice toddlers babbling irrigation rhythms while stacking pebbles. Torch smoke stings your eyes as the priestess demonstrates. She folds a leaf, recites a stanza, unfolds it to reveal perfect measurement marks. The song holds the shape, she shrugs. You try it, mangling the vowels. Your leaf tears. A girl beside you giggles, then chants the correction. Her version, flawless. The priestess nods. The land taught us. We're just echoes. Midnight. You sip ginger tea with a historian-turned-djembe player. He swears certain chants contain Sanskrit fragments, leftover code from Indian traders. Imagine Vedic calculus smuggled in nursery rhymes. He drum maps a Paddies dimensions on your knee. It matches your GPS app within 2 centimeters. A gecko choruses agreement from the ceiling. Dawn drill. Apprentices balance water jars while reciting slope calculations. Drop a syllable. Jar shatters. One kid nails it, rhythm steady as a heartbeat. The priestess gifts him a rusted hydrometer. Let colonizer tech remind you songs outlive steel. You spot the date-etched 1884. Krakatoa's aftermath, when foreign instruments first bowed to local cadence under a frangipani tree. The Dutch granddaughter braids leaves with closed eyes. Her lips move old Rotterdam lullabies warping into subak tempo. Historians still argue whether these fusions birthed new measurement modes or just prettied up theft. Listen closer. Her chant includes the word Amsterdam stretched into 4 soothing syllables. A priest smiles. Even invaders, words can bend if the soil allows. Monkeys raid the offering baskets, tossing mango pits like dice. You notice each fruit's distance from the temple steps matches chant, lengths 3 meters per verse. Coincidence? The priestess winces. Monkeys know math. They just spend it on mischief. A pup steals your pen scribbles mimicry on a leaf. The marks align with tide tables. Everyone pretends not to see. Rain taps the roof, 1,000 fingers drumming validation. The elder whispers the advanced chant, vowels rippling like canal reflections. You feel your pulse shift, sinking to lunar cycles you've never tracked. The granddaughter gasps, her Fitbit flashes abnormal heart rhythm. The priestess pats her wrist. Your machine learns, finally. Outside, frogs croak in perfect fifths, nailing the interval between drought and deluge. You pocket a braided leaf, its song still buzzing in your palm. Tomorrow, engineers will scan it as a cultural artifact, but tonight, in this hall sticky with incense, it's a living cipher. One even the rats memorize, their squeaks harmonizing with the high priest's snore. Somewhere, a parrot mutters Dutch expletives in subak meter. Progress, poetic and imprecise, seeps through cracked irrigation pipes. Dawn bleeds through banana leaves as parrot squawks fade into rooster crows. You follow the scent of toasted sesame to a walled garden, its gate plastered with handprints smaller than yours. Inside, women kneel between sprouting beds, fingertips pressing seeds into soil like piano keys. No priests hear, just sharp laughter and the clink of bronze measuring cups. One matron eyes your boots. Tourists trample, sisters calculate. She tosses you a coconut shell. Dip it in the cistern. Tell me how many raindrops cling. You fumble, water sloshes over carved markings. Her granddaughter snorts. 3 monsoons short. The old woman corrects her grip, your palm, cupping the shell like a fledgling bird. Here's the thing. Bali's seed vaults weren't discovered till 1972, buried under a collapsed temple. Archaeologists found 17 varieties of extinct rice, each labeled with knotted grass. But the real shock, all samples still sprouted after 3 centuries. Modern agronomists keep borrowing them, never admitting who stabilized those grains through famines. A teen offers you betel nut wrapped in a leaf. Chew helps you see the gaps. Your mouth floods with peppery numbness. Suddenly, the garden grids sharpen. Rows align not by crop type, but by hidden ratios. The matron nods, your spits staining the soil. Move. Mid-morning brings the clatter of bamboo scales. Women weigh seeds against polished river stones, each marked with clan symbols. One hisses as her portion comes up light. Thief crickets again. She buries a turmeric-stained finger puppet, crude likeness of a man with coins for eyes. Hungry ghosts hate paprika. Plant some here. You spot faded henna tattoos on her wrists, interlocking triangles. Historians still debate whether these were land deeds, menstrual trackers, or sacred geometry exams. The granddaughter flashes her own wrists, fresh ink of snarling otters. We update the classics. Her scale tips perfectly seeds and stones kissing. A toddler drags a stick through mud sketching what looks like Pythagorean theorems. The matron rolls her eyes. Ignore her. Babies mimic everything. But you notice the lines match irrigation angles from yesterday's chant. Coincidence. The kid licks mud off her stick, grinning like she hacked a mainframe. Lunch is served on frond platters, purple yam slices arranged in Fibonacci spirals. The teen whispers, "Grandma once hid a blighted harvest by baking it into cakes. Sold them to Dutch tax collectors." You choke on a rice ball. The matron smirks. Bureaucrats digest lies better than truth. Dusk unveils their secret weapon, moonlight chromatography. Women lay suspect seeds on silver trays, watching lunar beams separate healthy khaki grains from bluish-tinged failures. One size. Chemists want our method. They'll get riddles and a complimentary gecko. You're handed a germination ledger, names inked with berry juice. Every entry includes weather notes and birth charts. We track which moons favor stubborn grains, the teen explains, and which make men's beards grow sideways. She points to a 1936 entry, harvest cursed by mustache wax. See, the matron shoehorns you into a seed-sorting ritual. Channel your pettiest grudge, she orders. Anger steadies the hands. You think of that barista who shorted your espresso shot. Suddenly, your fingers fly, segregating plump kernels from slack imposters. The women applaud. Teach us your Western witchcraft. Tonight's offering basket holds a single blackened seed pod. The granddaughter places it solemnly at the garden shrine. Failed hybrid from the Green Revolution, we're giving it a funeral. Plastic packets of GMO seeds rustle nearby. Donations from a university. The matron lobs one into a compost pit. Let foreigners lecture us. After their rice learns to outrun locusts. Frogs croak the hour. You accept a parting gift, a beetle-stained pouch of problem-solver seeds. Plant them during arguments, the teen says. Sprouts will absorb the nonsense. Outside the gate, your GPS pings. The garden doesn't appear on any map, just a pixelated smear where satellites give up. Bedtime brings distant giggles. Peering through bamboo slats, you spot the women dancing ankle-deep in a moonlit paddy. Their steps trace irrigation maps older than Machu Picchu. The toddler follows, stomping chaotic additions. The matron watches, chewing a seed casing. Let her scribble. Someday it'll make sense. Your hammock sways to the rhythm of pestles grinding night-blooming seeds. One word hums through mortar cracks. Tabanan, tabanan, tabanan. You'll later learn it means endurance, and also the sound of roots cracking stone. For now, it's just a lullaby sung by women who memorize debt ledgers in their sleep. Honey gold light spills across the Paddies, dawn's unpaid debt collector. You sip ginger tonic from a hollowed mango until a priest kicks your stool. That's this year's tax ledger. He points to fruit scars on the table. Each dent marks a farmer's contribution. The biggest gash, a failed attempt to bribe the gods with candied pineapple. Here's the divine math. Bali's temples demanded 20% of every harvest, not for granaries, but bonfires. Better ashes in our eyes than envy in the gods' throats, mutters the priest, scribbling fractions on a palm frond. His abacus, smooth river stones, one still damp with yesterday's offering wine. Ever heard of Varuna, Hindu god of the sea and cosmic IRS agent? His statue clutches a noose for tax evaders. Modern Bali knows this. Tourism ministry quietly photoshopped it into a snorkel in their brochures. But in 1889, Dutch colonists learned the hard way. They kept harvests intact, only to watch cyclones flatten their warehouses. Coincidence? The priest snorts. Varuna prefers his cut up front, with a side of roasted pig. A farmer arrives, basket overflowing, with panicle rice. The priest scowls. You grew this much. He flips a leaf ledger. 1965 bumper crop. Tsunami ate 3 villages. The farmer pales. But my wife's cousin owed 7 coconuts in 1912. The priest interrupts. Interest compounds. You notice his scales counterweight, a clay ball stuffed with papyrus receipts. Some crumble at the edges, names erased by rat piss and regret. The priest selects a pebble. Chew on this. Helps with divine negotiations. It tastes like licorice and broken promises. Midday brings a procession of adjusted rice. Villagers dump surplus into a ceremonial trough, their hands dusted in turmeric so the gods can't track fingerprints. One teen pockets a fistful. The priest snaps a twig. The kid's hat bursts into flames. First warning's free, he yawns. The quirkiest artifact. A priest's apron woven from mango leaves, said to absorb audit rage. Museum curators dismissed it as costuming. Until a 1998 carbon dating revealed pesticide residue. Turns out someone wore it during the Green Revolution, silently filtering chemical runoff through sacred fiber. Farmers murmur as the priest ignites the rice mountain. Smoke coils into the shape of a money-lending deity, or maybe just a vengeful pelican. Historians still argue whether these burns stabilized the economy or guilt-tripped the clouds into raining. You inhale ash. It smells like tax-deductible incense. A widow arrives with rice-dyed indigo atonement grains. My husband hoarded, she whispers. The priest rolls his eyes. 2 decades late, but the underworld accepts layaway. He buries her offering near a poisoned well, the one that killed her spouse. Watch his hands, they tally, without counting. Each scoop of scorched rice matches a debt from temple carvings. His left pinky bends unnaturally, a souvenir from repossessing a cursed plow. Gods don't need receipts, he says. They check your shadow's weight at low tide. Sunset forces a reckoning. The priest spreads ash on a ceremonial mirror, reading fiscal fortunes in the smears. Next season, 30% levy on eggplants. Gasps erupt. He shrugs. Nayapi's volcano farted sulfur last week. You think that's a compliment. You pocket an unburned grain, a tiny act of rebellion. The priest's parrot dive bombs your ear. Thief. It squawks. He laughs. Birds training to inherit my job. Already knows 7 dead languages for guilt-tripping ancestors. Bedtime finds the priest scrawling warnings on rooster feathers. They'll blame me when locusts come, he grumbles. Always do. His oil lamp flickers, revealing a childhood doodle under the desk, a stick figure god demanding cookies. Tourists would call this superstition, but check Bali's corporate tax codes. Section 14 still mandates spiritual levies for hotel developments. Last year, a resort ignored it. Their infinity pool now breeds malarial mosquitoes. The priest's verdict: Barunal collect, one rash at a time. As you leave, he tosses you a charred rice bunch. For your next audit, smoke this. Confuses the hell out of spreadsheet demons. The parrot adds, and tip your waiter. Your Jeep won't start. The priest smirks from his veranda, rattling a jar of overdue karma. You leave 3 coins on a mossy shrine. The engine roars, scented with clove oil and existential dread. Somewhere, a farmer's daughter replants the grain you stole. She'll water it with lemonade and bad report cards. The priest's parrot watches, already drafting her invoice. Midnight finds you ankle-deep in stolen water, moonlight glinting off the liquid you've rerouted from Old Man Dharma's canal. His rooster crows 3 villages away. But here, a bamboo pipe hums with your midnight bonus. Mist rises, weaving handcuffs around your wrists. Bad sign. Village elders said moonlight thieves drown in fog rope by dawn. You torch a clove cigarette, its ember bleeds a smokeless red. Matahari brand, smuggled in from Java for precisely this blasphemy. One drag later, the fumes reveal footprints fossilized in the mud, 7 toes on the left foot. Everyone knows Kedut, the carpenter, lost 3 digits to a cursed saw. But he's been dead since 97. A frog plops into your illicit reservoir. Its croak mimics the priest's laugh, dry and terminally disappointed. Rice paddies don't have surveillance cameras, just amphibian informants pumped full of ritual steroids. The temple's been doping pond life since the Majapahit Empire. Or so your cousin's boyfriend swears after too many bintangs. You kick sludge at the frog. It retaliates by vomiting a kelp scroll your theft tallied in squid ink decimals. Screw you and your math. You mutter, just as dawn cracks the horizon like an egg full of consequences. The tribunal meets where two canals intersect, a liquid courthouse. Priest Inira arrives fashionably late, dragging a leek root through the mud. His assistant fans him with a dried manta ray wing, standard equipment for water court, apparently. They seat you on a termite-riddled stump. Resistance is futile. The bugs already voted on your guilt via pheromone referendum. A farmer to your left coughs. The sound shapeshifts into the word thief before dissolving. Hydromancy, Bali's answer to Alexa, but with more spite. Mainstream history buffs might recognize the Subak water courts, real 9th century institutions that settled irrigation disputes without prisons. What textbooks omit? Judges used roosters trained to peck the guilty. Tonight's feathered bailiff eyes your shoelaces and your soul. Priest Inira unrolls a palm leaf smeared with jackfruit pulp. You diverted 13,412 drops, he intones. You almost protest. That's half a liter tops, until noticing his ruler. It's a king cobra, lightly sedated, but still conversational. Evidence presentation gets weird. The priest burps a cloud of nutmeg smoke inside it. Your crime replays in miniature. There you are, grinning like a possum, installing that bamboo siphon. The projection highlights your nostrils flaring, a telltale sign of hydraulic greed, per ancient case law. You blame your deviated septum. The court scribe, a teenager with a tablet discreetly playing Candy Crush, records your excuse as confessed via nasal vanity. Quirky tidbit time. Defendants' benches here are carved from frangipani trees downed by lightning. Why? Electrocuted wood remembers truth shocks. Sit on it long enough, and your pants conduct ancestral confessions. Yours start leaking a sticky confession sap smells like guilt and durian. Priest Inira sniffs deeply. Ah, 3rd grade field arson. This court is lenient. Pay a 6 rooster fine. The audience gasps. 6 roosters could seed a poultry dynasty. Ever heard of Melling's Law? If 5 consecutive theft verdicts go unpaid, priests can commandeer your family's hair for ritual wigs. Your aunt's waist-length braids aren't safe, but here's the loophole everyone whispers about. Trick the tribunal into drinking your tears. You slice an onion stolen from the evidence table. The priest sips his chalice, pauses, then accuses you of emotional forgery. Busted, his goblets lined with gecko tongues, nature's lie detectors. Forgotten fact. 19th century Dutch colonizers tried replacing these courts with magistrates. Their verdicts, overturned by flash floods, dams they'd built dissolved under mysterious bacterial blooms. Science later proved temple microbes devoured colonial concrete, but locals know the truth. Those bacteria were baptized in holy spring water, holy probiotics, with a grudge. Dew soaks your shirt as punishment phase begins. Priest Inira unleashes the Lego brick of shame, a hand-carved stone weighing exactly one repentant farmer's soul. You're ordered to carry it upstream while reciting irrigation mantras, easy until the rock starts lactating cursed coconut milk. Slippery, ethical, unclear. Every stumble adds a month to your community dredging duty. Halfway up the embankment, you spot previous convicts' handprints, glowing faintly with bottled lightning. One belongs to your uncle. Classic. Historians still argue whether these tribunals curbed theft or let priests skim water taxes under chaos cover. You're not sticking around to find out. Ditch the rock, savoring the splash, and bolt through cassava fields. The rooster gives chase. Its beak clacks like an abacus gone feral. From the temple, a gong sounds once for mercy, twice for eagle reinforcements. You skid into a coffee bean warehouse, tripping over a sack labeled export-grade karma. Sunrise finds you in the priest's outhouse, hiding between a vinegar enema kit and back issues of Sacred Farming Monthly. Outside, the rooster circles. You whisper a water-sharing oath into a beetle nut canister. Tradition says sealed apologies ferment into immunity, but you're 90% sure that's how prank curses start. The priest's shadow darkens the bamboo slats. His sigh smells like burnt tax ledgers and mild admiration. Clever rats dig better canals, he murmurs, tossing in a laxative leaf. Message received. 3 monsoons later, your name surfaces in court again, this time as the guy who irrigated a beggar's herb garden using temple drainage. The rooster guard pecks your heel. Gently, Priest Inira smirks, weighing your contrition against a duck egg. 2 drops per dawn, he decrees. You pay in magnolia petals, the currency of reformed thieves. Somewhere, your stolen water nourishes a frog battalion, croaking ballads of your scandal. The priest's leek root writes a receipt in soil, where all debts eventually dissolve. The monsoon fever hits Priest Inira mid-measurement, his palm leaf ruler wilting as sweat blurs the ink. You find him knee-deep in a flooded paddy, arguing with a dragonfly about hypotenuse ratios. The gods demand 19-degree angles this harvest. He slurs before face planting into irrigation broth. His apprentices haul him to the fever hut, a bamboo cage where sick holy men hallucinate in HD. Green bile trickles from Inira's nostrils as he mutters formulas. You're on nurse duty, crushing moth wings into antiviral paste. Historical records confirm Balinese priests used deturolaced tonics to clarify visions during plagues. Modern pharmacists might call it poisoned. But hey, who's got a 900-year-old irrigation system? Inira's pupils dilate into eclipse mode. He grabs your wrist, fingers mapping pulse points like survey points. The 3rd terrace. It's underslept, he croaks. Underslept. You make a note to check for vitamin-deficient rice. Nightfall turns the hut into a disco of delirium. Inira's spasms etch perfect circles in the dirt, each tremor calibrated to lunar gravity. Locals claim feverish priests channel deities who use human bodies as CAD software. You half expect him to vomit blueprints, but he starts reciting water tables in old Javanese palindromes. His assistant records every syllable on banana stem parchment. One typo, and next season's harvest gets baptized in acid rain. Quirky alert. Chroniclers wrote that beetles swarm fever huts to sanitize errant math. True enough, a metallic green swarm descends, devouring Enira's drooled equations. The surviving numbers glow faintly. Bali's first bioluminescent calculus. You trap 3 beetles in a beetle nut case, emergency editing staff for your own future blunders. By dawn, Enira's muttering in basate, a counting system some claim originated from octopus traders. His left hand sketches maps on the hut walls using coconut charcoal and phlegm. The lines defy Euclidean geometry, yet match groundwater patterns discovered by satellite in 2017. You spill turmeric tea trying to decode his scribbles. The stain forms a perfect Fibonacci spiral. Coincidence? The assistant hisses, "You've disrupted the wrinkle algorithm." Day 3, Enira stops breathing for 72 seconds. Returns quoting water prices from 1342. His fever breath crystallizes into tiny abacus beads. Collect 10, and temple accountants will trade you a get-out-of-jail-free rooster. You pocket 2, just as Enira sits bolt upright. His voice drops 3 octaves, Gollum doing ASMR. The North Canal's third bend. It hungers for a trapezoid. Ground-penetrating radar later proved him right. But right now, you're busy hiding from his demonic eyelid twitches. The crisis peaks when Enira levitates, sort of, more like a half-hearted hover, buttocks grazing the bamboo slats. His big toe draws a fractal in the air, a irrigation schema so precise. It gets digitized into UNESCO's archives years later. You blink, and he's collapsed into a snoring heap. The assistant nods solemnly, third eyes deflated. Good work. Here's the kicker. Those delirious blueprints became the Subak Codex, holy text du jour for WaterPriests. Farmers still debate if Chapter 12 was composed by Enira or the Datura talking. Modern scholars chemically reconstructed his sweat, turns out. Malaria meds reacted with palm sap to birth a natural LSD. Historians still argue whether these fever texts were divine or just tertiary syphilis with good PR. Recovery brings awkwardness. Enira finds you replanting his vomited equations around the temple. "You transcribed my episodes," he asks, eyeing your beetle-modified notes. Before you can lie, his toe joint cracks Morse code for approval. The council votes to retire him, but not before he blesses your coffee crop with a sneezed hymn. 3 harvests later, your beans grow pre-ground. Priest perks. Last week, you caught Enira sneaking mangosteen rinds into his tea, homemade hallucinogens for maintenance visions. His new calculations: 70% nonsense, 30% genius crop yields. You let him scribble on your shed wall, somewhere between the rooster poop and his Sanskrit swear words. There's a sewer design that'll revolutionize Jakarta's plumbing. Maybe salt licks your ankles before you see the ocean, crusty white streaks defacing the temple's tide charts. Coastal fields here bloat with brackish betrayal. One storm surge, and a century of holy math dissolves, like sugar in tea. You've been demoted to beach duty, punishment for over-innovating Inira's fever formulas. The Klunkung elders loan you a cracked conch shell, their version of a performance improvement plan. Morning ritual. Wade into thigh-high sludge where fresh rivers bow to salt. Your job, calculate the exact moment tides corrupt irrigation channels. Too early, and you drown seedlings. Too late, and farmers revolt over shriveled stalks. Historical records show coastal priests earned half pay, plus hazard coconut allowance. You pocket a barnacle. Unofficial union rep problem is salt lies. It mirrors moonlight, duping rice into thinking it's hydrated. You catch a paddy drinking seawater like a frat bro at happy hour. The plants perk up, then crumble into sodium ash by dawn. Local lore claims rogue priests once salted rivals' fields as divine pranks. Evidence: 17th century legal scrolls detailing a season of tongue-curled harvests. Your toolkit's pathetic: a corroded bronze plumb bob, 3 fermented squid eyeballs, and a mantra that makes crabs dance. The key's in the whispers. Lean into the monsoon's left ear at low tide. They say it recites desalination ratios. You get seaweed in your hair trying, but catch a phrase: 7 palm spans between prayer and poison. Quirky fix: elders swear by virgin coconut oil as salt repellent. You slather it on canal gates. The smell attracts hornbill gangs. Their pecking keeps sluices clean until one befriends you and steals your lunch. Modern hydrologists found these oils create temporary osmotic barriers. Science: temporarily. Night shifts break you. Moonlit waves scrubbing hieroglyphs into sand, each swell a failed manifesto. You sketch countermeasures in wet silt, but salt licks your work away. A century back, priests here buried live sea turtles upside down as earth anchors. Their panicked flippers churned up alkaline soil, nature's antacid. You opt for a less cursed method: boiling seaweed into saline-absorbent gel. It backfires spectacularly. Now your storage pawns a jiggling dessert. Elders accuse you of innovating pudding. The turning point stinks literally. While burying spoiled anchovies, offering or compost. Jury's out. Your shovel cracks a terracotta urn. Inside, 200 desiccated bats, wrapped in banana leaves. Priests here used guano to offset salt's pH mischief. You reek for weeks, but the rice thrives. Historians still argue whether these bat burials were agronomy or just a pandemic waiting to happen. Rebellion brews at the tide pools. Fishermen hijack your desalination shrine, replacing holy water with shrimp stock. Their logic: If ocean gives snacks, why fight it? Why owe you Chinese letter by planting salt-tolerant seaweed fences? They shimmer like turquoise prison bars and taste great in soup. Compromise, Bali style. Final test, the monsoon orgy, rain and seawater fistfight in your canals. You mediate with a bamboo pipe organ, each note tuned to repel specific salt concentrations. Mid-concert, a drunk octopus climbs your leg, improvising a duet on your ankle bones. The fields survive. Your dignity, sold for a pearl. Elders inspect your work, sniffing for bat stench or musical disgrace. Finding neither, they nod, then vanish into the mist. Left behind, a single oyster filled with vinegar-soaked rice. Coastal priest hazing ritual or lunch. You swallow both pride and bivalve. The aftertaste haunts you, salt and sacrament, indistinguishable. Now, the real work begins. Somewhere past the reef line, tide priests are wrestling electric eels into makeshift batteries. Their laughter rides the salt wind, a reminder that madness metastasizes by the shore. You check your conch shell. It hums. Low tide in 10. No time to rinse your socks. The math won't wait. You're ankle deep in mildew-scented scrolls when the betrayal rips, literally. A palm leaf ledger tears under your pinky, its fibers sighing like a stabbed accordion. 5 generations of monsoon data, fraying because you sneezed. This isn't negligence, it's heresy. The Weavers' Guild operates behind a curtain of beetle nut smoke. You enter clutching the wounded leaf. Inside, 16 women sorting fronds by flecks and fragrance. One snaps without looking up. 5th not region. She means the split. Nodding risks arrogance. But you've studied. Historians confirm Balinese lontar manuscripts lasted centuries when properly maintained. Climate-controlled museums could never. Guild secrets. Boil fronds in tamarind stew for flexibility and spit polish with lemongrass oil. You mention this. The head weaver snorts. Tourist pamphlets. Real repair needs. She flicks her wrist. A knot forms midair. Your leaf's tear straddles an embossed frog glyph, fatal overlap. Field measurements on one side of flood prophecies on the other. Lose this, and next planting season guesses rain like a drunk dart thrower. The weavers circle you, silent, until the youngest mutters, "Owl moon." They cackle. Initiation test. Rumor claims master weavers slept with leaves under their pillows, absorbing lunar repair strategies through osmosis. You try humor. Any Arab tips for tonight? Their stares suggest humor died here in 1423. The 5th knots the solution. It looks simple, 3 loops, 2 twists, 1 prayer. But each twist aligns plant fibers with underground streams. Get it wrong, and the leaf stiffens into a rice paddle. You attempt it. The guild watches. Your first knot oozes sapsong, a sticky betrayal. Mid-cringe, the head weaver grabs your wrist. You tension like Dutch colonizers, all force, no feel. Her hands guide yours, weaving kelp strands into the split. The leaf shivers. then lies flat, tear erased. Scholars still feud over the fifth knot's true purpose: emergency, reset button, or coded love letters to water goddesses. Payments tricky. Guild fees involve humming a specific harvest hymn while balancing a cockroach on your nose. You botch the high note. The roach escapes into your sleeve, career low. But the real secret: precision requires gossip. As they stitch, weavers share village scandals: whose son eloped, whose pig cursed the mayor. Distraction lets their fingers work uninhibited. You're told a priest once traded his pulse to fix a ledger. His heartbeat moved into the fibers, a weaver whispers. You file that under metaphor or medical emergency. Dusk brings inspection. The head weaver licks the repaired leaf, taste testing adhesive. Nods approval. Now survive the drying rack. They hang your manuscript over smoldering clove buds. Too close it crisps. Too far mold ambush. You babysit it for hours, negotiating with rogue geckos eyeing the edges. Success smells like burnt sugar and recklessness. The guild kicks you out with a souvenir, a knotted frond ring. Wear it when arguing with engineers. They smirk. Funny, until you realize it's tightening on your finger. Blood circulation, overrated anyway. Walking back, you spot title charts reborn crisp and smug in their newfound wholeness. But the real victory's quieter, like hearing aquifer rhythms in the rustle of repaired pages. Somewhere, a century-dead priest cheers, or maybe that's your stomach, still protesting the beetle nut they made you swallow. Midnight finds you hunched over the ledger, translating monsoon patterns into planting dates. The fifth knot glows faintly. Or is that sleep deprivation? Doesn't matter. Your pinky traces a frog glyph spine intact for now. Outside, palm leaves rasp secrets to the wind. You pretend not to listen. The fifth knot's glow dims as the first tremor hits, like God dragged a chair across heaven's floor. Your inkwell sloshes accusations. Ash already powders the ledger's edge. Bali's volcanoes giveth mineral-rich soil, and taketh away entire irrigation canals. You pocket a finger-sized stone statue, carved obsidian farmer, eternally mid-bow. Locals call them Tana, a peace pet, grounding tools against eruption tantrums. Dawn finds you trudging uphill, sandals filling with grit. Steam vents hiss through ferns. Funny, the sacred hot springs spas Instagram loves, same magma plumbing that'll char your fields. Priests used to bury honeycombs at the rim, sweetness calming the fire. Not a metaphor, your guidebook insists. Archaeologists found 14th century hives cemented in lava lids, still sticky. A ranger jogs past, GPS tracker beeping. His shirt reads Disaster Mitigation Unit. He side-eyes your obsidian figurine. Modern sensors versus honey magic, the island's eternal rematch. You reach the offering pavilion just as the mountain coughs gray plumes. Nearby, a priestess kneels, weaving black and white threads around bamboo stakes. Her chants sync with the GPS's metronomic blips. Progress duetting with tradition. The real trick, positioning. Farmers needed ash to fertilize, without it clogging canals. Priests became calculus savants, predicting fallout patterns using palm frond angles. One monsoon season's miscalculation left an entire village's rice paddies looking like poorly frosted cakes. The remedy? 1,000 women singing lullabies to buried irrigation pipes. Historians still argue whether harmonies actually vibrated silt loose or just therapized farmers into not rioting. Your job's dirt granular. Measure ash depth in the north fields. If over 3 thumb widths, dig diversion channels. But today's grit defies rules. It's flower-fine, volcanic tantrum particles. The priestess nods to your struggling tape measure. Threads breathe better, she says, dangling a spiderweb-thin cord. You scoff until realizing it's triple-knotted at intervals, matching the ranger's sensor data. A coconut shell hits your foot. Inside, honey pooled around a mouse skull. For the fire spirits, she explains. Calories distract them from wrecking canals. You imagine magma dragons licking sugary offerings. The laugh startles her. Whoops. Humor's banned above 2,000 meters. 3 hours later, you're elbow deep in a sluice gate. Ash mutes the water's gurgle like nature's white noise machine. The priestess materializes with a leaf bundle. Bamboo roots, chewed by pregnant foals, a restorative poultice, or grounds for a rabies shot. You decline. She shrugs, tossing it into the clogged pipe. It disintegrates, but the gate creaks open. Coincidence, probably. Until you spot threads tangled in the mechanism. Each knot's placement mirrors the canal's original palm leaf blueprints. Synchronicity or silent sabotage. The priestess won't meet your eye. Mountains enjoy games, is all she mutters. Dinner's a tense affair. Glutinous rice rolled in ash for resilience. Your host family argues over bottled water shipments. Grandma waves a fermented fish head. My bones predicted this eruption, and arthritis discounts. Midnight brings aftershocks. You cradle the obsidian farmer, absurdly. The priestess was right. Threads outlast steel here. Tomorrow's mission, restring the eastern sluices, and maybe apologize to that mouse skull. As magma growls miles below, you finally grasp Bali's true equation. Every disaster's calculus, balanced on honey, threads, and the grudging respect between volcanoes and fools. The obsidian farmer digs into your palm as you climb, each step echoed by sloshing buckets. Morning mist clings to bamboo yokes left by generations. Balance here isn't philosophy, it's physics with blisters. Welcome to apprenticeship Bali style, where training involves hauling spring water uphill and learning which gods laugh loudest when you spill. You pass a mossy stone plumb line dangling from a banyan. Grandfather's spirit level, a boy explains, until his sister shushes him. UNESCO might enshrine the SubakSystem as World Heritage, but the real temples this slope. Your thighs scream like overripe durians. A teen overtakes you, 3 buckets stacked atop her head. No hands. 3 for fertility, she smirks. Her sandals are mismatched. Left foot, recycled tire tread. Right foot, crocheted banana fiber. Historians still argue whether water-carrying drills were practical or just ritual theater to weed out the lazy. The first spill happens at the turn, where volcanic grit makes the path glass slipper slippery. Your right bucket vomits half its load. Elders nod approvingly. Failure's the first crop. A grandmother cackles, scrubbing her laundry with your lost effort. Lunches and education, sticky rice packed into bamboo lengths. You bite, charcoal aftertaste. Absorbs panic sweat, claims the bucket balancing prodigy. Her grin says she's lying. The real reason, 12th century priests feared grain theft by monkeys, so they fed them inedible leftovers. Sunset reveals the calculus, damp patches on the trail map, every stumble. You kneel to refill at a spring spot, something glinting, a rusted Walkman, tape moldering inside. Tourist discard, snorts a passing farmer. His tone suggests otherwise. Some claim 90s backpackers left tech as offerings, accidentally inventing Bali's first gadget grave shrines. The priestess finds you massaging your shoulders. Carry water long enough, you become the vessel. She demonstrates, an empty bucket on her head, posture flawless. Weight's an illusion, unless you're the one paying the village well tax. Ancient ledgers mention apprentices drinking from leather sacks to memorize water's slosh patterns. Modern kids cheat with Fitbits. Your attempt at Zen collapses when a gecko pees in your hair. The giggles around you suggest initiation by reptile. At camp, elders scrutinize your damp tunic. 3 liters unaccounted for, mutters one, tracing stains like tea leaves. The penalty, you'll replant mangrove sprouts where the riverbank eroded, ironically, using the same buckets. Nightfall brings a surprise. The obsidian figurine's gone. Panic fades when you spot it cradled in the plumb line's shadow, aligned with volcanic north. Coincidence, unless you count the banana stem someone wedged under your mat. Discovered, village kids using your phone flashlight to stage shadow puppet wars. Their enemy, a jerky-cut demon excavator ruining terraces. You cough, they freeze, then recruit you as the monster's voice. GRRR, I'm here to privatize your aquifer. Dawn's return trip feels lighter. Not skill, blunt numbness. The subak's genius whispers in your calf tremors. Equilibrium's not about holding steady, but knowing which imbalances fertilize tomorrow's roots. A girl offers her bamboo yoke, cracked but familiar. Carved inside, 1983 flood survivor. You hoist it and finally grasp the joke. True balance isn't in the carry, but in choosing which drops to spill. Your blistered palms trace fissures in the temple wall, each crack a lunar calendar. The priest's grandmother once said shadows had weight. You're about to prove her right, with geometry borrowed from coconut trees. Monsoon clouds bully the sun into a strobe light. Your job, mark where the eastern gate's shadow kisses a carved frog at noon. Easy, until ants colonize your ink bowl. Sacred scribes, the head priest shrugs. His smirk says insect allies always test beginners. Here's the math. Every finger width the shadow creeps south means one less day to plant. But Bali's peaks stretch time. Higher fields lag behind like reluctant dancers. You squint at the frog's eroded toes. 19th century Dutch surveys found these markers matched equatorial tilt within 5 degrees, using nothing but elbow grease and hindsight. A gecko scurries over your parchment, its tail smearing yesterday's calculations. Bad omen clucks a passing grandmother. She's the third elder to accidentally spill rice near your workstation. Rumor says temple mice predict droughts by nest angles. Some claim they're reincarnated surveyors, still bickering over boundary lines. The priestess finds you recarving the frog's toes with a mango pit. Respect the rot, she chides. Molds nature's eraser, reminding us today's answers won't fit tomorrow. Her lesson ends abruptly when she lobs a mangosteen at a snooping tourist drone. Seasoned aim. You discover the real cheat code at moonrise. Silver light picks out hidden notches. A boy giggles as you jump. Grandpa called them ghost measures. For when monsoons lie, historians still argue whether these lunar backups were innovation or desperation. Your ink-stained fingers vote both. Morning reveals your mistake. The shadow you'd tracked, just a python-shaped moss stain. The priest tosses you a rusty tin can. It's punched holes project. Eclipse patterns onto rice paper. Cheat sheet, he winks. Turns out 1930s Dutch colonists banned shadow almanacs. So farmers repurposed oil ration tins. Lunch is a puzzle. Portion sizes shrink with your errors. You nibble burnt crusts until the bucket prodigy sneaks you tamarind candies. Sugar forgives bad angles, she lies. Her real agenda, bartering your smartphone flashlight to check for scorpions in her loft. By week's end, you're diagnosing field slopes by how quickly sweat rolls off your nose. The priest approves, until your brilliant idea to use sunscreen glare as a mirror. Nature mocks shortcuts, he sighs, then confiscates your SPF 50. Local cheat, smearing papaya pulp on quartz stones, reflecting double shadows for cloudy days. Dusk unveils the payoff, your shadow grid projected across the valley. Each paddy glows like a sundial fragment. A teen points out mismatched angles. Great Uncle's field always ripens late. You check the almanac, his plot's shadow gets eclipsed by a decommissioned phone tower. Ironies alive and employed by the irrigation gods. The head priest reviews your work, tracing errors with a lemongrass stalk. You counted hours, but forgot the volcano's breath. He's right, your math ignored geothermal steam bending light. Correction involves dangling a clove bud from a spider's thread and waiting for crosswinds to nudge it. 3 days later, you've memorized every local spider's curse. Final test. Calculating a new terrace's planting window during partial cloud cover. You combine moss thickness, cicada pitch, and the head priest's snoring intervals. Results: 3 days faster than last season's almanac. The council debates your method over bitter coffee. One elder insists cicadas can't be trusted post-monsoon. Another cites their accuracy during the 1974 eruption. You're repairing the ink-stained parchment when a drop hits your neck. Rain unforecasted. The priestess chuckles at your panicked chalk adjustments. Shadow math ends where cloud ink begins, she says, and teaches you to measure droplet spread on banana leaves. Backup systems for backup systems. Bali's original redundant servers. As monsoon proper arrives, you spot kids folding palm leaf protractors, their laughter sharper than any laser level. Your greatest lesson: precision matters until the heavens improvise. Now you plant by the crackle of distant thunder, nature's way of rounding up. The obsidian farmer returns, moss now frosting its shoulders. You place it where the first shadow will strike at solstice. Maybe next dry season, some blistered apprentice will curse your name. The circle feels complete, like a sundial, with no numbers, just patience fermenting into rhythm. Your final calculation: 73 days until harvest, give or take a gecko's sneeze. You're knee-deep in monsoon mud when the first bell tolls, a sound like a shovel striking wet concrete. Villagers freeze mid-step, rice stalks sway in silence. The temple's bronze bell hasn't rung itself since 1942, when Japanese troops mistook it for artillery salvage. Cracks spiderweb the metal, each fissure hissing steam from yesterday's purifying fires. Good, grunts pack Lembu, the bellkeeper. Now we know where it leaks prayers. His remedy: a poultice of beeswax and widow's hair, stirred clockwise during a waning moon. You're handed a machete to scrape moss from the clapper. It reeks of fermented nectar and defeat. Here's the catch: no repairs until the fracture's mood is diagnosed. Elders circle the bell, dropping palm blossom petals into its mouth. One sticks to the crack's edge, a sign the gods accept treatment. 2 stick. Start digging a grave for the bellkeeper. You count 7 petals floating freely until a gecko's tongue snags one midair. The crowd exhales. Dawn reveals the real crisis. Rain waters seeping into the bell's hollow, a third of it already gone. Priestesses brew urgency into bitter coffee. Each drop lost is a week's delay planting, mutters the head priest. You remember Dutch colonial records, blaming an 1896 famine on a single cracked temple gong. Those scholars still debate whether it's fact or folklore. Your blistered fingers vote fact. Repairs demand scavenger logic. The bell's alloy requires gold from 3 generations of bridal earrings, plus iron nails from a shipwrecked opium smuggler. You're sent to bribe a museum guard for borrowed artifacts. He demands your wristwatch and a lock of hair for protection. Later, you'll learn he's reselling both to love charm vendors. Molten metal smells like burnt candle nuts. The smithy's teenage apprentice claims bells ring clearer if you pour bronze during a dog's bark. He unleashes a yapping chorus, then dumps the glowing ladle. Result: a vespiary-sized bubble in the alloy. Character, he insists, while his grandfather facepalms with tongs. Testing the bell's voice takes cruelty. Priestesses herd goats onto the temple steps, their bleats tuning forks for imperfections. A pregnant nanny goat headbutts the bell, producing a flawless G-sharp. She gets extra clover. Humans aren't as lucky. You're ordered to sing scales into the fracture, while elders judge resonance. Your falsetto cracks before the bell does. Nightfall brings paranoia. Farmers whisper that the crack leaked sacred harmonies, inviting droughts. A boy swears he saw the bell's shadow crawling toward the river, armored in centipedes. You dismiss it until a beetle-backed silhouette inches past your hut. Sleep becomes a rumor. The reliquary reveals desperation's blueprint, a 15th century palm leaf scroll prescribing 7 dawns of silence to heal metal. Problem: modern Balis never quiet. Solution: volunteers pad rooster beaks with banana fiber. Motorcycles get diverted through cassava fields. You're tasked with babysitting a diabetic howler monkey. It screeches, muffled by durian jam sandwiches. By day 5, the crack develops a personality. It hums during meals, squeaks like a rusty seesaw at moonrise. Once, even mimics the head priest's nasal snore. An elder suggests naming it. Another counteroffers exorcism. You vote for duct tape and get assigned extra meditation hours. The breakthrough comes via toddler logic. A girl dribbles coconut milk into the fissure, its white trail revealing hidden hairline fractures. Map, she declares, sucking syrup from her fingers. 8 extra cracks surface, each requiring individualized flattery. You whisper apologies to the bell's spirit while daubing it with honey. It sweats bronze tears, or maybe just condenses humidity. Who knows? Replacing the bell involves naked firewalking, optional for volunteers, mandatory for the repair crew. You borrow aloe vera gel from a tattooed Australian backpacker. Sacred PPE. You explain, watching her slowly back toward the exit. The coals singe leg hair, but spare your dignity, narrowly. Final test, a monsoon simulation. You're drenched by a firehorse pipe as the priestess chants. The bell's note rings clean, then warps as water hits hot metal. Too suspenseful, grumbles the smith. His solution, mounting a turtle shell as a rain guard stolen from a nearby golf course's decorative pond. Security chases you for a quarter-mile, but the shell works. Installation day smells of jasmine and fear. The bell sways from its rebuilt scaffold, its clapper dangling like a guilty verdict. The first strike echoes across valleys, scattering egrets from their roosts. A grandmother weeps into her sash, same reaction she had at the 1976 bell raising. and her mother's funeral. Traditions funny that way. You spot the flaw at dusk, a hair-thin crack near the relief of the rice goddess. No one else notices, or chooses not to. History won't record this, just like it forgot the shipwrecked smuggler's name, the apprentice's botched alloy, the goat's accidental genius. You smear a dollop of beeswax over the spot, humming the tuning song that made your voice crack. Some silences are better left unmeasured. The canal's edge crumbles under your sandals, a whisper of loose soil surrendering to gravity. You're ankle deep in calculations now, measuring water depth with a notched coconut stalk. 2 shallow, thirsty fields. 2 deep, the whole hillside slips into the ravine. Priestess Deu traces ancestral warnings on your palm. 3 generations dug here. Their bones hold up the banks. Modern hydrologists would suggest reinforced concrete, but Bali's 9th century copper scrolls forbid foreign stone. Instead, you're handed a rotting palm leaf map. Its inked lines squirm like eels, tracing water paths older than Angkor Wat. A village elder insists the map stains are sacred. Never mind the 1998 museum carbon dating, revealing coffee spills. Your shovel strikes something woody, a petrified dibble stick from the Majapahit era. Farmers once used these to poke seed holes and whack thieving macaques. The sticks snapped halfway. A bad omen or just termites? Historians still argue whether the 1343 invasion's landslides were divine punishment or engineering backlash from over-excavated canals. You pocket the splinters anyway, future bargaining chips with cranky temple spirits. Dusk complicates everything. Fireflies mimic the depth markers you painted on boulders, their glow warping measurements. A rookie priest misreads them, orders a channel deepened by 2 handspans. By midnight, the first mudslide guts a compost shrine. Repair efforts involve more theology than physics. You're conscripted into a frog-catching brigade, their sacrilegious croaks blamed for destabilizing soil. The solution, a bamboo divining rod soaked in virgin coconut oil. It bends toward safe depths, allegedly. You catch the head priest microwaving the rod's tip for flexibility. Don't question the ancestors, he mutters, adjusting his reading glasses. Later, you'll find Dutch colonial archives mentioning identical rods in 1904, though their engineers called it primitive load testing. Harvest hinges on this balance. Deeper canals irrigate 10 extra fields, but risk burying the irrigation tunnels. Shallower ones save the tunnels, yet starve the lower terraces. It's a cosmic seesaw. Priestess Deu cites a 17th century drought where villagers resorted to shadow irrigation, aligning canals to moonlight angles for nighttime water gains. Skeptical, so were the eels, until lunar-refilled Paddies fattened them like sausages. Work halts when a shovel cracks open a mud womb, a ceramic urn stuffed with 14th century rice and infant teeth. Burial or offering, your crew splits into factions. The teeth mean curse squad demands a purification hog roast. The rice means blessings faction negotiates for overtime pay. You compromise by reburying the urn after pocketing a molar for later analysis. Lab tests will later confirm the rice was moldy and the teeth from a now extinct pygmy deer. Deadlines squeeze tighter than monsoon-fed rivers. A tourist's drone buzzes overhead, its operator clueless. They're filming sacred soil. You improvise a defense, pelting it with fermented mud balls. Crash site recovery reveals GoPro footage of your improvised artillery. The priestess screens it at dinner. Crowd chants MVP between beetle nut spits. Final decision, day smells of frangipani and fear. 3 priests channel ancestors through kava-laced beetle quid. Their slurred verdict, a compromised depth of 3 knuckles past the dragon's spleen. Translation: dig until the water reflects Orion's belt, then backfill with ritually insulted rocks. You toss pebbles while listing Dutch colonial grievances. Their curses supposedly harden the soil. The first monsoon tests your work. Water laps precisely at the safety line, carrying lotus petals instead of topsoil. Villagers cheer until a drunk farmer's misplaced foot collapses the west berm. As you patch it with prayer flags and regret, you spot the elder's granddaughter downstream. She's redirecting leaks into her clandestine frog farm, innovation thriving in tradition's cracks. Nightfall brings uneasy peace. The canal's song blends frog croaks, and gravities pull a lullaby of managed risk. You find Priestess Deu tossing pebbles into the water, each ripple counted like prayer beads. My grandfather dug here, she says, flicking a stone that skips 7 times. The 8th splash sounds suspiciously like laughter. You choose not to mention it. Some balances exist to remain unbalanced. Your fingertips brush moss-eaten stone. The canal's latest wound exposes something slick and amphibian. A frog, not the living kind, but a palm-sized carving worn smooth by centuries of groundwater whispers. Its mouth yawns toward the northeast, the same direction village legends say freshwater ghosts congregate. A drone buzzes overhead, its operator's sneakers crunching gravel downstream. Found another one. They shout, zooming the camera on your discovery. Modern surveys reveal over 80 stone frogs buried across Bali, their positions aligning with underground rivers. Mainstream archaeology credits 12th century engineers, though locals swear the carvings crawled into place during monsoons. The frog's back bears faint scratches, once thought to be erosion. Zoom in, and those marks resolve into minuscule triangles. Turns out they're hydraulic symbols matching a palm leaf codex moldering in Denpasar's archives. Water-safe depth, gradient angles, salt intrusion thresholds. You smirk, ancient meme culture passed down as math. But here's the weird part. Every frog statue wears a tiny carved hat. Not ceremonial headgear, but perfect replicas of farmers' rice straw rain shields. Historians still argue whether this proves pragmatic humor, or if the hats channeled groundwater through fashion resonance. You vote humor until the droneless operator admits their lithium battery died mid-flight, stranding the device in a banyan tree. Retrieval's your job. They shrug. You're the one friends with the rock frogs. Climbing reveals 3 more carvings nestled in the roots, their hat grooves funneling due into the trunk. The tree's sap tastes suspiciously sweet, a fermented cocktail of photosynthesis and holy water. By noon, you've mapped a groundwater artery older than Borobudur. The drone's last photo shows your headlamp glowing through the canopy, an accidental mimic of the frogs, bioluminescent cousins said to guard subterranean lakes. Back at camp, a 3D model renders the frogs as nodes in a liquid neural network. Each stone marks a saturation point, a spillover threshold, a mineral deposit. Colonial dam builders ignored them in 1910, triggering a saltscape crisis. Modern engineers pay attention now, once they're done snickering at the hats. Nightfall brings an offering, palm wine poured over the first frog's head. Its stone tongue seems darker now, as if drinking. You half expect a croak. What bubbles up instead is a children's song from nearby huts, lyrics about frog uncles guiding lost springs home. The drone operator sobers up, admits their grandfather dug wells for the Dutch. He kept finding these frogs, tossed them in the jungle. Guilt-riddled, they've spent decades scouring satellite maps to rebury the discards. You gift them a pebble from the canal, its shape uncannily tadpole-like. Fair trade, they mumble, already scrolling for the next excavation site. Dawn reveals fresh claw marks near the banyan. Civets, or something with webbed feet. Priestess Deu arrives with breakfast, steamed buns shaped like frog eggs. They found a carving in Australia. She says, same hats. Your chopstick freezes mid-bite. Either Balinese hydrologists had excellent PR, or frog fashion is a universal constant. By midday, the drone's footage goes viral. A geotagging mishap sends new age bloggers meditating atop sewer grates. You draft a corrective tweet, then delete it. Let them have their magic. The aquifer won't mind. As the pumps hum to life, you touch the original frog's rain hat crest. Cool to the touch, yet radiating the stubborn chill of secrets kept too long. Somewhere below, a hidden river twists toward sunlight patient as stone. Your sandal slips on a mossy canal brick. You catch yourself against a stone frog's grinning mouth. Its hat now sports a fresh fern crown courtesy of local teens mocking the drone crew. Don't laugh, Priestess Deu warns. Their great-grandfathers built a dam here that collapsed in 1887. Mainstream records blame Dutch engineers for that fiasco. But village ledgers cite a stolen coconut shell. Turns out this stretch of canal once relied on a ceremonial gong's vibrations to gauge water flow. Crack the bronze, and the whole system fell mute. You kneel beside a mossy depression, the gong's grave. Dayu unrolls a palm leaf map, its inked swirls marking echo debts, owed across generations. One column lists typhoid outbreaks as interest payments. A geologist's report flutters into the canal. You fish it out using a frog statue's hat. Modern scans show the original dam's location, now housing a boutique yoga retreat. The owners refuse excavation. Their Instagram aesthetic hinges on untouched colonial charm. You mutter about karma, then notice the report's margin doodles. Someone's sketched the stone frogs wearing tiny yoga mats. Night brings a delegation of elders, their beetle-stained teeth gleaming in phone light. They speak of wet season debts, how a priest's 1920s decision to favor upstream fields now floods luxury villas downstream. Your flashlight catches a glint in the canal, a half-buried coconut shell carved with cursed glyphs. Historians still argue whether these were actual fiscal tools or just leftover punchlines from ancient comedy slams. Dayu slices open a mango, its juice tracing the same zigzag as the cursed carvings. Every 3 generations, the water remembers, she says, wiping her knife on a drone manual. The retreat's owner texts, complaining her infinity pool turned brackish. You resist replying with a frog emoji. Dawn reveals teens repurposing the coconut shell as a bong. It's spiritual. One insists, exhaling vapor that smells suspiciously like temple incense. Their laughter fades as the canal gurgles, a wet belch from the deep. You drop a pebble into the murk, count the seconds. 13. Exactly how long it took the 1887 dam to fail. By noon, backhoes arrive to rehabilitate the canal. Their claws freeze mid-dig operators, spooked by frog-shaped shadows in the silt. Dayu negotiates with a backhoe, offering it a palm leaf hat. The machine growls, then pivots toward the yoga retreat's parking lot. Karma's GPS recalculating. You find the original dam's blueprint in a Denpasar flea market, tucked between erotic palm leaf scrolls. The seller winces when you mention the coconut. Grandma said those were tax receipts for the volcano gods. His whisper smells of clove smoke and evasion. Rain arrives, plinking melodies into the frog statues' mouths. You lean too close, and the largest carving swipes your sunglasses. Coincidence or petty larceny spanning centuries? The retreat owner's lawyer calls, demanding compensation for groundwater harassment. You mail her a coconut shell postcard, postage paid in corroded Dutch guilders from the canal mud. Moonlight unveils a new carving beside camp, a frog riding a backhoe hat askew. The teens swear they didn't do it. Dayu just hums, her breath sinking with the reeds. Rustle. Somewhere downstream, a villa's foundation cracks, its infinity pool draining into the earth's thirsty ledger. The cracked foundation's puddle reflects your face and something else. A single rice stalk spears the murk, its grains blackened into braille-like patterns. Priestess Dayu pokes it with her drone charger. Bad crop reviews, she deadpans. This one's complaining about the pH balance. You kneel. The blighted grains form jagged lines, like Morse code for abort mission. Mainstream agronomy texts confirm it. Balinese farmers once read mold patterns to predict pest invasions. Dry leaf etchings in Denpasar's museum show identical glyphs from the 1600s. Captioned rice sickness alphabet. A resort staffer tosses a chlorine tablet into the puddle. The stalk disintegrates, releasing a stench matching the yoga retreat's kombucha vat. Dayu side-eyes the bubbles. Modern problems need ancient solutions and nose plugs. Nightfall brings a surprise audit. 3 farmers clutching notebooks, woven from palm fiber. They scrutinize the puddle's residue, like sommeliers grading swamp wine. One murmurs about root consonants, how certain blights spell warnings in dead dialects. His flashlight app projects glyphs onto the villa's stucco. Letter 1C2, Cyrillic letter 4DD thorn means dig here, or beware of poorly installed plumbing. He shrugs. You recall a 19th century Dutch diary entry, a colonist's terror at devil-engraved grains appearing before his plantation burned. Historians still argue whether those glyphs were mycelium art or the world's first biodegradable hate mail. Dayu drags a ceremonial comb through the muck, its teeth snagging a rusty key. The farmers nod gravely. 3rd generation curse, textbook case. Turns out the VILLAS Chinese letter crew bulldozed a priestly compost heap in 2014, unleashing what botanical charts politely call soil resentment. Your phone buzzes. A resort guest's 1-star review. Infinity pool tasted like existential dread. You screenshot it for Dayu. Add it to the glyph database. She instructs, already threading the key onto a necklace of corrupted prayer beads. Dawn reveals new stalks sprouting through the villa's cracks, their grains forming skull-raised symbol 334. The farmers debate translations over smuggled Starbucks. Skull end hand, classic stop symbol, or a dude waving hello to the apocalypse. You attempt crowdsourcing via Reddit. The top reply, NTA, your rice is gaslighting you. By noon, backhoes return, this time unearthing a terracotta urn stuffed with corroded coins and chili seeds. The farmers huddle like Wall Street brokers. Intergenerational IRA Spicy Edition. A monsoon hits as Dayu reburies the urn. She chants rain sluicing glyphs off the villa walls. The blighted stalks dissolve into a biofilm that clogs the resort's drains. Guest screams harmonize with frog croaks. Karma's plumbing invoice comes due. You pocket a surviving grain, its surface pitted with marks, resembling a tiny scream. The farmers warn it's bad luck, but you've already glued it to your hotel keycard. Some truths only scan at checkout. The resort's infinity pool glitches first. Its endless edge now drips brown sludge onto Instagram influencers below. You watch a yoga instructor slip on biofilm, her mandala tattoo now accessorized with karma's graffiti. Dayu checks the security cam feed, 73 guests demanding refunds, 12 staffers hiding in the herb garden. Time for Bali's oldest tax code, she mutters, pulling up a map from 1982. Mainstream hydrology studies confirm it. Subak water temples managed irrigation for 9 centuries before hotels arrived. But here's the quirk. Kuta Beach's first luxury villas in the 90s triggered hidden bylaws. Farmers could legally reroute canals under tourist properties if they danced the Kekak chant backward during a lunar eclipse. 3 farmers arrive with bamboo poles, their tips wrapped in soggy invoices. You recognize the stamps. Bukit Peninsula Water Court, circa 2003. One man pokes a garden hose spewing grey water into sacred springs. This pipe owes us 14,000 liters compounded over 3 harvests. His calculator. Knotted coconut fibers resembling abacus PTSD. Dayu drags you past a Zen garden that's actually a diverted creek bed. They thought labeling it Feng Shui would fool us, she scoffs. Historians still argue whether the 2016 Legionnaires' outbreak at Seminyak resorts came from tainted aquifers or pissed-off water nymphs. Midnight brings the covert op priests in hotel staff uniforms, swapping pipeline valves. Their tools, hollowed-out mangosteen rinds and resentment. You spot a maintenance closet stuffed with desiccant packets labeled karma absorbers. Do not microwave. The quirky twist. Every 5-star suite has a hidden water meter disguised as a frog statue. Their eyes track consumption. Blink twice if you've exceeded your cosmic quota. A bartender mixing blue Hawaiians ignores the croak until his ice machine coughs up chewed beetle leaves. By dawn, reality glitches. Showers spray kombucha. Toilets burble gamelan music. A TripAdvisor review trends. Pool had chunks. But the existential dread seasoning was chef's kiss. Dayu monitors groundwater levels on her smartwatch. Its face cracked from last week's curse. 14 villas just hit balance, she says. 9 more to humble. The farmers cheer, their rice paddies plumping like denied area rug haggling. You find the resort manager ankle deep in a puddle shaped like Indonesia. He's negotiating with a frog, mistaking it for corporate HR. We'll comp your spa day, he pleads. The amphibian ribbits once Balinese for lawsuit. Checkout time unveils the masterstroke. Every guest's bill includes a water equity surcharge. The fine print quotes 11th century penal codes and 3 emojis of middle finger sprouting lotuses. A hedge fund bro protests until his Gucci loafers sprout freshwater algae. As you leave, Dayu hands you a mason jar of suspiciously sparkly liquid. For your next vacation, maybe drink less of a place's soul. The farmers wave, their flip-flops leaving glyphs in the gravel. Your Uber driver plays a cassette of rainfall ASMR, its rhythm matching the resort's weeping pipes. You glance back. The last stubborn tourist's hair turns mint green from recycled pool essence. Covert justice smells like chlorine and frangipani. The final kicker: nobody notices the new sign by the drained lobby fountain. For your convenience, Karma now accepts contactless payments. A gecko paws at the QR code, hungry for digital comeuppance. Rainwater pools around your airport taxis, tires, the scent of frangipani, and burnt clutch plates. A billboard looms, Bali's next smart city, where progress meets paradise. Its LED screen glitching into static braille. You squint behind the pixels, hand-painted protest signs from 90s land rights marches. The urban planning office smells of 3D printed concrete and stale ambition. Developers trace canals on holographic maps, their gloves smearing digital rivers into profit margins. One intern jokes about grandpa's leaf math, mocking a priest's palm frond blueprint pinned under a latte. The ink, fermented mulberry, resistant to both coffee spills and capitalism. Here's your mainstream nugget. The 2017 Denpasar floods submerged 6 luxury malls. Drainage engineers blamed climate change until hydrologists found the cause. Builders had paved over 24 useless palm leaf marked springs. Night shift reveals the quirky counterattack. Elders burying blessed fronds under construction sites. Not symbols, actual irrigation maps from 1347. A backhoe operator later quits, claims his digger vomited mud smelling of clove incense. His foreman dismisses it until GPS logs show the machine tracing Sanskrit glyphs in the dirt. Rain returns, first as drizzle, then as monsoon vengeance. Storm drains cough up palm fibers tied in sacred knots. Historians still argue whether the worst floods align with lunar cycles or the exact moment planners called coconut-based math quaint. You wade through knee-deep water past a drowned Starbucks, its mermaid logo now a shrine to Dewi Sri. A clerk floats past on a conference table, still refilling loyalty cards. The finale, a viral drone shot. Palm fronds resurface across flooded highways, their decayed edges forming perfect catchment patterns. Instagram filters can't mute their geometry. Urbanists groan, while farmers mail drowned Rolexes back to CEOs, compensation for stolen aquifers. At dawn, a child skips through puddles. Her footprint, the same spiral priests once carved to trap monsoon greed. Your Uber driver laughs, his wipers swishing like temple brooms. Ever notice? He nods at a half-sunk SUV. Modern cars make terrible canoes. The epiphany drips like a broken AC unit. Tech fixes crumble. Palm leaf logic outlives steel. You pocket a frond from the gutter, its veins still humming with unpatented wisdom. The last raindrop hits your passport, smudging the bio page into a water-stained masterpiece. Damp pages cling like riverweed as your passport dries. The blurred visa stamps now resemble WaterPriest hand signs. Across the street, a digital billboard flashes liters per second data. Its glow battles the flicker of oil lamps in a roadside shrine, each flame counting drops in a language only roots understand. An old woman rhythmically folds banana leaves into offering baskets. She pauses her hands, hovering mid-crease. UNESCO calls our subak cultural heritage, she smirks. But can their satellites taste salt in soil? You glance at her bamboo rain gauge, its notch markings mirrored in the creases of her palms. Here's the arithmetic of loss. Every luxury villa's infinity pool steals 3 family paddies. Developers pay in rupiah, priests counter with invisible interest. Last monsoon, a 5-star hotel's foundation sank 7 centimeters. Coincidence, or the land demanding palm leaf math as reparations? Young engineers mock the superstition tax until their AI models fail. A landslide swallowed 17 bulldozers near Ubud. All 17 had GPS coordinates matching a priest's nightmare from 1983. Rescue teams found the machines, their fuel tanks full of sprouting rice. Your sandal squelches against a storm drain. Inside, rusted pipe joints choked by coconut fibers. Workers sweat to unclog them, unaware the fibers form the same knot priests used to mark flood seasons. A foreman barks faster. His walkie-talkie crackles with static, then a woman's chant in old Javanese. At a cafe serving 12 avocado smoothies, a hydrologist sketches equations on a napkin. His pen freezes, eyes widening. The numbers align with a palm leaf etching in Bali's National Museum. He scoffs, orders another latte. The barista, a priest's granddaughter, secretly stirs in tamarind ash. For clarity, she winces. Nightfall brings the reckoning. Streetlights falter, replaced by bioluminescent fungi on temple walls. Their glow charts watershed maps older than Borobudur. Teens snap selfies, accidentally documenting the exact pattern their great-grandparents followed during the 1917 eruption. Dawn reveals the prank or prophecy. Highway barriers now bend like palm fronds, redirecting floods to a half-built mall. Security cameras catch no vandals, just monitor lizards dragging palm fibers into drainage ditches. A contractor's manifesto trends online concrete sleeps. Water remembers. Historians still argue whether 14th century priests encrypted crop rotations in lullabies, or if exhaustion birthed accidental genius. Either way, kindergartners now sing monsoon predictions better than weather apps. Your phone buzzes, a landslide alert, time-stamped yesterday. Too late, mud already laps at your hotel's infinity pool, its chlorinated blue surrendering to ancestral ochre. A valet offers towels, woven from the same reed species that once measured paddy depth. In the lobby, a plaque commemorates the building's eco-conscious design. Behind it, a palm leaf scroll gathering dust, its faded markings Predict this exact date for Earth's tears, reclaiming false mirrors. The concierge shrugs, local art, very symbolic. Rain drums a final warning or elegy. You pocket a fallen frond, its ribs, imitating the hotel's floor plan. Outside, a toddler stacks pebbles in the exact ratio priests used to punish water thieves. No one taught him. No one had to. The Uber app glitches, rerouting your ride to a Subak temple. The driver, a former tech bro, mutters about analog algorithms. His dashboard screen flickers, resolving into a leaf vein flowchart. Ways never looked so alive. As wheels hit the airport's privatized toll road, your frond crumbles into dust. Or maybe seed. A customs officer eyes the debris, organic matter prohibited. You grin, hands still humming with the weight of what no currency measures. The conveyor belt eats your luggage, its robotic hum briefly syncing with the rhythm of an irrigation chant. Final sight, a janitor sweeps FROND, Chinese letter, into a corporate dustpan, his broom handle, carved from the same teak that once calibrated tidal rice. He winks, you almost miss it, then dumps the sacred debris into a bin labeled progress. The last Lotus Sutra ends where you began, watching pavement cracks birth wild rice. Or is it lawsuit sprouts? Either way, the flooded runway forces a delay. Over the PA system, static resolves into a melody even your Spotify rap can't name. It sounds like roots relearning their names. Your boarding pass disintegrates, water damage, or divine critique. Doesn't matter. Seat 14B now cradles a stray kitten, its fur patterned like irrigation grids. Crew members shrug, stowaway. You cradle it, feeling microchips at corporate headquarters, short-circuiting somewhere. As the plane taxis, a flash in the adjacent paddy, elders weaving palm leaves into Wi-Fi routers, not metaphors, actual routers sucking data from the cloud. Rice stalks sway taller nearby. You swear they're laughing or measuring. Turbulence hits, and your in-flight screen glitches. A fractal blooms its geometry, matching the Subak's 800-year-old spacings. The man beside you snores, drool pooling into a perfect catchment spiral. Coincidence stacks upon coincidence until it forms its own faith. Descent reveals the cruelest joke. Your home cities, reservoirs, outline Bali's temple constellations. Always did, you just never noticed. The landing gear kisses tarmac, but your soles already itch with phantom mud. And there, tucked in your back pocket, a single grain of Javanese rice. Not smuggled, summoned. Customs scanners miss it, focused on the steel in your pins. The grain glows faintly, or maybe that's sleep deprivation. Either way, it weighs exactly what a palm leaf cannot measure. Your apartment's smart faucet recognizes your palm print and dispenses holy water. At least it tastes like it. You Google Bali rituals, autocorrect changes it to Bali rhythm. The top result, a biomedical study proving priestly chants sync with human circadian genes. As moonlight dries your laundry shadows on the wall mimic canal blueprints. You laugh. It's just the AC vent, until the pattern starts adjusting to tomorrow's forecast. The thermostat reads 22 degrees C, but your skin knows it's the exact chill of a subak spring at dawn. Morning coffee steams, its swirls resolving into a Sanskrit glyph. You stir faster, creating a tiny typhoon. It's enough for now. Your phone buzzes, a calendar alert. Monsoon season SDARTS today. Outside, cloudless blue mocks the prediction, but your stolen frond dust itches, so you grab an umbrella. The first raindrop hits as predicted too. 17 p.m. Not a guess, a correction. Palm leaves never measured water, just the cost of forgetting it measures you. Damp streets sigh as you linger, the humid air, thick with memories, clinging like moss to stone. Your shoes whisper against pavement cracks, where rice shoots emerge, slender green threads, stitching modernity to myth. Across the alley, an old man nurses broken concrete with palm frond poultices. His tools hum, a hymn older than his calloused hands. Breezes carry the scent of tamarind and diesel, a fragrance both ancient and impatient. You trace the hotel's eroded walls, fingers brushing patterns that mirror temple reliefs. Somewhere, a child's laughter rides the monsoon's edge, its joy echoing the pitch of a priest's rain-summoning flute. Lights flicker, city grids bowing to fireflies dancing in abandoned lots. Your reflection wavers in a puddle ripples, blending your face with those of long-gone harvesters. Their whispers curl through storm drains, murmuring aqueduct lullabies. A moth lands on your wrist, its wings etched with vein maps matching the subak's waterways. You hold your breath, gravity itself hesitating. The insect stirs, dust from its wings becoming constellations on your skin. Morning arrives, soft, blurring edges between dream and drainage report. Your suitcase exhales traces of volcanic soil, each granule a dormant archive. On the balcony, a spider spins silk calibrated to catch both flies and dew. Its web trembles, charting pressures unseen. You sip water, taste limestone and perseverance. Somewhere far off, or perhaps within, a priest's chisel etches tomorrow's rainfall into green wood. The carvings sigh patient, unyielding. Shadows lengthen, stretching like irrigation channels across linoleum. Your pulse slows, syncing with the drip of a leaky faucet. Each drop a minuscule temple bell, ringing across centuries. Sleep comes as rhythm, not surrender. Moonlight pools in the curve of your palm, a liquid echo of Bali's sacred springs. Breath by breath, the boundary between invention and inheritance dissolves. And there, in the silence where machines falter, you finally hear it, the land's slow exhale, steady as sprouting rice, forgiving as a palm leaf yielding to wind. It needs no translation, only listening. Your eyelids fall not with exhaustion, but the quiet certainty of roots drinking deep. Somewhere a frond unfurls, Somewhere water laughs. The rest is measurement.